United States, but okay.
What's your problem, Amos?
I have a lot. Which one of them you want to listen? I have a lot
The
of
first one.
The first one?
Yeah, what's your first problem?
That I'm in Israel right now. That's my first problem. Can I come to India, to Australia?
You can come to Australia anytime you want.
You can come to India. A lot of Israelis are coming to India, Amos.
Yeah. You can come to India or Australia.
But there is no airplane. Put some records to Israel, so there is no airplanes. I can't come.
No, you can come.
Don't have airplanes.
No airplanes.
Don't have airplanes.
Not the pilot in India and Australia are chickens. They're afraid to come to Israel.
They're in Israel right now. What are you talking about? There's flights from Israel to Australia every single day. What are you talking about?
What airlines? What company?
Qantas.
Air India is there. Air India is there from India.
Yeah, Qantas.
You sure about this? That you're not wrong? That
I'm 100% correct. Qantas
Yeah, 100%. I am 100%.
Australians every single day from Israel.
Okay, this is my first problem. Now you want to hear the second problem? Because there is a lot.
Wait a second, Amos. I'm telling you, every single day there's Israelis that fly to Australia. Every single day. So what's the problem?
Okay, this is my first problem, that I don't have a flight and you say I'm wrong. Okay. My second problem that I have to represent my government in Gaza. That's my second problem.
Why can't you represent your friend in Gaza?
Because I think we should not be there.
Why not?
Because we have to come to agreement with the Hamas.
Agreement with a terrorist, murderous, rapist operation? You wanna...
Imagine there's no heaven. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions, I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will live as one.
Really? Is this a song? Can you tell me the name of the person who sings it? Is it John Lennon?
John Lennon, Imagine.
No, I don't believe you. Stop trolling me. If you're trolling, stop.
He's not trolling.
Really?
He's not trolling you.
I mean, if this is a song like...
Yeah, the point though is, that might not be protected speech in Europe or in Israel. It's protected speech in
I understand now, so you're missing the point. I'm not saying that I don't understand the law. I'm saying that the way that it's right now, there should be like a measures to understand it right now. Listen, and I told it to Isha, she doesn't like it because of the COVID thing. But when there was a plague, okay, you were limited by your right to leave the house, for example, okay, in order to temporarily combat a spreading disease, okay? So the United States and many other countries that are democracies with all the freedoms in the world, United States limits freedom of people because they had a temporary situation that they had to tackle. They didn't say from now on no one can leave the house, but they said in order to combat this disease that is spreading, we need to do something. I don't know what it is something, but something needs to happen.
May I posit something? There's a huge problem with what you're proposing.
I'm not proposing anything. I'm saying this. Hold on. I want to say because I was misunderstood a few times. I'm not saying to put a limit on freedom of speech, and I'm not proposing anything. I'm saying that there is a problem that needs to be addressed. I don't know how, but it needs to be addressed.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. Let me just point out the obvious. I mean, you may give this consideration, or you probably already have given this consideration. But let's say there's laws, preventing people, like further crackdowns, let's say on university campuses, right? What's going to happen is that will just lead to more anti-Semitism. Because people will say, well, look at Jews, they're the protected class, you can't say anything against them or you're going to get locked up, and it just leads to more hatred, you know? And this is definitely one really large potential problem with that.
All right, so that's enough, but I think what is the measure that should be taken? Because not doing nothing,
That's the question.
is letting this the plague will spread. And it is spreading, and it does manifest to violence at the end, and people do die at the end.
Yeah, I know, but there, I mean, I think you know my personality already. This is brutal here. I don't hate anybody. I actually want to live in a very peaceful world. I think one of the best things that we could do is have more nuanced conversations and be a little bit less excitability and use our frontal cortex a bit more, because when we allow our minds to jump into sort of alarmist reactions, it's kind of the virus of the mind. It just spreads more hate. So I don't know. I'm working on my first coffee here in the morning, and we'll see. But there's no easy answers, you know. One thing that's certainly true is, avoid.
Well, but last year they're unbeatable. Within this year, they were just still very strong. It would have been a good contest against OKC, but neither Indiana or New York are as good as OKC, but they still could beat them because literally it takes one injury. If every
single group, universal rule, is that everybody kind of hates seeing their own in-group attacked. You know, if I'm a white guy, if I come on Clubhouse and I go in a room and everybody's saying negative things about white people, I feel automatically defensive. And this is the same with every single group of people in the entire world. If we could move, this is my strange idea, but if we could move away from unwilling, like just seeing our minds for what it is, this automatic reaction, and protecting our own in-group kind of automatically, and making generalizations towards our own in-group, I think that would it would make the world a better place. You know, if a lot of these conversations started with, okay, these are my people, they did all sorts of shitty things, these are the bad things they did, and
yes,
you know, if everybody,
all of that is cool, and I get it about the in-group.
Yeah.
The problem is the problem, and I can understand Daniel's urgency, you know, because you can see it in the world, like how dangerous is it actually becoming tangible for them. Like,
I agree.
People in the name of fucking free Palestine. Like, look at what happened in the US. That should never be allowed. And so, what do you do? Because I agree with you. And this was I was talking today.
You know, I'm a lefty, right? You know.
Yeah, but
I want to address something
in
that
the
he
case
said.
of anti-Semitism, just want to say this quickly, and I'm gonna shut up. In the case of anti-Semitism, you're damned if you protect, and you're damned if you don't, right? Like, you, as you say, if you protect, let's say, through anti-Semitism, that creates more anti-Semitism, and that it confirms the people that is like, okay, tell me who you cannot criticize, and I'll tell you.
Exactly.
So that doesn't be good. But on the other hand, you should put something in place because people are dying because of this shit.
The anti-Semitism issue is not about, like, how do you call it, like an in-group. This is not the problem for the Jews to take care of. This is something that society or America or the West, whatever, need to take care of. Not us. It's not our responsibility. Yes, we are the one being impacted. It's not about, like, you don't need to be a Jew to understand that this is wrong. And if you don't see that this is wrong, then
Daniel, I was talking to something else. Yeah, I was speaking about the universal principles here, because that's how I operate. I treat my own in-group and everybody else's in-group equally.
I'm not talking about I'm talking about society as a whole. I don't think it's a Jewish problem.
No, I didn't say that. What I'm saying is that I really respect other white people who, are in North America. And there's no doubt that this land here in North America was taken over by the whites, destroyed a native culture. It's horrible what they did, and it's true, and it's is wrong, And if everybody came to political conversations with this sort of transparency and honesty, then the kind of the tendency to protect everybody within our own group with absolutism, that really stops people from making peaceful bridges with each other. Because if you talk with some Jews, they'll promise you, oh, not a single Jew has ever done anything wrong. If you talk to some Palestinians, they'll tell you not a single Palestinian has ever done anything wrong. They're absolutely perfect. This really stops meaningful dialogue from taking place. And I just mean this as a universal rule, not just Jews and Palestinians, every single group of people in the world, So I think it's a degree of flexibility and humility and letting go of defensiveness. And then we have to, so if you have that on the table, then you have to lay out, genuine criticizations against, Hamas and these crazy motherfuckers who just want to kill every Jew. And then genuine criticizations against Israel where there's too many innocent people die in Gaza. Without a doubt, it's horrific, So both sides, if we lift out the cloud of generalizations and reveal the facets and the complexity of the situation, and everybody came together with a forward kind of good, what would you say, good faith, and the goal in the end is peace. I think this is a way to move forward, But I'm a lefty,
You're a communist, not a lefty.
The goal is
Honey, I
peace.
just
It
love
has
you
to
guys. I
be.
got
You
just like
assume that there is a common goal of peace. There is no common goal.
I need to go for a while, just to let you know I'll be back, but don't just I'm not leaving you.
Come back. You always say.
I leave you with the communist, but Marshall is here, and Cynic. The whole
I don't think it's
here is
Ghost, you assume that there's a common goal of peace, but that is not true.
Well,
They don't want peace.
I think there's a lot of Palestinians, all they want to do is have peace, my friend.
I'm not talking about Palestinians, I'm talking about right now the United States.
Oh, the United States. Don't worry about that. The West is safe.
Don't worry about the West.
What are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? Safe? Safe for who? Safe for Sarah and Yaron that were murdered out in Washington last week? Dude, I mean, come on. It's not safe.
He's just a
He's
mind virus.
Maybe you shouldn't be part of a football team that calls for death to Arabs and Palestinians and prides itself.
A football team.
We're trying to have a normal conversation.
Yeah, one of those guys shot.
It's your personality, Donnie.
Was literally part of that whole football team. What's it called? Beta Jerusalem or whatever? Oh, you didn't know that? Now you know.
That's just an anti-Zionist talking point.
Yeah, I just ignore it. Makes sense. I'll come back.
morning.
Hey, morning, Mixed. It's always nice to hear from you, man.
It's an anti-Zionist talking, but no, that's just a fact, man.
No, that's an anti-Zionist talking point.
Oh, that was communication. That was fucking.
So what are you gonna do today, Cynic? You gonna repair a bunch of laptops and spend all your time talking about Zionist talking points?
No. Guys, we were having a conversation that I think is important. If you want to troll, there's enough rules on Clubhouse. Please go somewhere else.
Yeah, take his advice, integrity.
All right. So my point is a problem is this. I don't know exactly how, but I think the first step is to actually people acknowledge that there's a problem. I'm not sure they.
Yeah, there's a problem. Palestinians need a solution. That's what the problem is.
No, the problem that I'm talking about, and you can open a different room if you would like to have a different topic. The topic that we're talking about is the Free Palestine movement that has been radicalizing people and makes them go into action and hurting and killing Jews.
And you don't think this has happened? There have been more deadly anti-Arab, anti-Palestinian, anti-Islamic attacks.
No. Don't direct the
We
conversation.
can say they're both problems. This is a
It's-
fact.
No, it's not. These are both sides. And again, if you want to have a different conversation, you can have a different conversation. I want to
No, I'm
talk.
not having a different conversation. I'm telling you.
Okay, so we are talking about the plague, the disease of anti-Semitism. Okay, that is the topic. And it's not a Jewish problem, it's not an Israeli problem, it's a societal problem that allows this. And I'm trying to understand
You were talking
how to
about
combat
Free
it.
Palestine and how you perceiving that slogan to be propagating anti-Semitism and to be like the propagating force behind this recent attack that took place.
Of course, yes, exactly. So join the conversation. Not an Israeli embassy, it was a Jewish museum.
So what you're talking about is toxic communication, correct, Daniel?
He went to the Jewish museum and he shot people. All right? And last week in Israel, we had a Palestinian that shot a pregnant woman. Dude, wake up, okay? We are talking about the Free Palestine movement that people are chanting and calling for intifada. And at the end, there are people, even from this app, that go and make actions in the real world, not just words.
Daniel, you're being hyperbolic. These are mentally ill, insane people that are doing crazy
that is
shit
no.
in the name of a cause.
I already told you.
No, you are actually,
No, Daniel.
kind of like,
You get excited
no,
all the time. It's your
Buddha,
personality.
no, Buddha, shut the fuck up and listen to me. You are like basically saying that anyone that is... No, you are listen to the way that you are, listen, if you will try to analyze me, expect a backlash. If you want to stay on the topic, I will be like talking on the topic. If you want to hyperbolic and getting excited.
Don't use swear words then, please.
He's
So
just
don't
a mind
analyze me and
virus.
Don't assume that you know me better than myself.
It's
Those people are
obvious.
not people. Shut up, cynic. Those people
Obviously,
are
they're
not.
mentally unwell.
Not even.
No, they're not.
Obvious.
This is no.
They're crazy
God.
people.
Can I
They're
answer you
crazy
for fuck's sake? Can I answer you? No, they're not crazy people. This is what you are missing. Those are
I don't think killing
regular
people is crazy. It's insanity.
Oh my God! Can you listen to me? If you would label every person that is being indoctrinated by this anti-Semitism as crazy, yes, I do agree that everybody is anti-Semitic has a mental disease, but that doesn't allow them to go and kill people. And if you want to say that if you're anti-Semitic, you need to be hospitalized in a mental institution, so be it. I don't think this is what you're saying. But just labeling them as like crazies, no, they're being indoctrinated, incited. And this is exactly why calling for violence is illegal in the United States.
Enticing violence.
Inciting, not enticing, inciting. Don't correct me. I know what I'm saying. Thank you.
You can say enticing.
It's toxic communication that they're putting out, and they're responding to it, and they're killing people.
Yeah, I agree completely with that.
I'm
100%.
sorry, I'm not. Whose government has the officials going out there and talking about, massacring the whole people? I forgot.
That's crazy.
That's
too.
projection, cynic. That's
That's
projection.
That's projection. I'm projecting that. That's not a fact. Again, it seems like there's
Look, all form, as far as I'm concerned, all form
Knowledge
of hatred is a type of insanity. That's my stance. That's the way I see
I
it.
agree. Thinking that
I think acknowledging Cynic and his beliefs is insanity. He's retarded. Cynic projects murder.
when you have an actual, when you're capable of articulating a point instead of like personal insults, I'm willing to hear you out.
Really?
But so far, you're just a clown on this app.
That's right. I'm a comedian.
That's what you think.
That's true, actually. That's true. How's it going, community?
It's going well. Do you think Cynic's going to be here all day instead of enjoying a beautiful Friday? You think he's going to waste his entire day here talking about nothing?
Lead by example.
I am. I'm just going to record you all day long in an anonymous account and go enjoy my life while you talk here all day long for my YouTube audience.
No. See, that's what you're lying about. You're saying enjoying your life. No, you're actually there and you're actually listening. That's the crazy part.
I know it's and you just spew toxic communication.
Not only that, but you post these videos and you don't even get views. You're pathetic.
That's not true. My live streams are getting 15,000 views now of all these stupid rooms.
Which fucking live stream gets you 15,000 views?
Well, let me send you the link since you're interested in it. You can watch it too.
Hey, Cynic.
let me defend
Some guys in India.
Let me defend the Jewish point of view here for a second, because I have close ties with some of the shuls here in Calgary, and they're good.
Mashallah.
Anti-war Jews here in my city in Calgary, and they are worried, and about people attacking their property, knocking down their fences, and stupid shit like this. I mean, I think everybody in this room hopefully can agree that you can have your political opinions, but in North America, which is thousands of miles away from the heart of the conflict, carrying out destruction of property or violence is insanity. It's completely insane. It's wrong. It's just wrong, regardless of who does it for whatever quote unquote reason they think.
What you're trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, whatever ill-advised behavior, it's so completely wrong, dude. And then I also think that it's wrong that the universities in the United States is really trying to shut down people that are probably people with really good hearts who turn on the TV, they look at Gaza and they're like, holy shit, look at that. Like, the optics are not good, man. It looks absolutely horrific. I just came back from Japan, and they have zero history of anti-Semitism whatsoever there. They have no history of Jews ever having lived there. They're a fucking island nation. But the vast majority of the people there...
Probably already Jews in Japan, bro.
Yeah, they never banned anybody. The Japanese actually saved something like 2,500 Jews during World War II. You can read about it somewhere. Or, I don't know, a couple hundred, or... I don't know, anyways, but the vast majority of those people in Japan...
Hitler never sent you a Kito letter going, give me those Jews?
Yeah, and he refused. But I'm just saying, man, like, the optics, there's a lot of good-hearted people in this world like me who just want to see the conflict end, And for anybody to come down on either side and say, you can't say this, you can't do this, or for any of the people that actually have concerns to go out and start becoming radicalized in any form and manner is just fucking wrong.
Amazing, man.
Well, the peaceful road is the only way. I mean, it does make for boring...
But you can keep talking in general terms and these general slogans, but, are you being realistic? What is a path to peace? What is your vision of a path to peace?
For the Israelis, would be not having Hamas in charge or anybody affiliated or related to them?
I'm sorry, you gotta be, delusional if you think that the current status quo can continue, even if you take out Hamas, that you're expecting that the Palestinians...
I wasn't arguing that status quo would continue. I was just telling you what the view was.
Yeah, we're talking about how do you deal with the current status quo, and you're saying, well, taking out Hamas, but, even if you take out Hamas, that does not end the cycle of violence.
Yeah, you have to censor the cycle of violence. You can't allow people to continue to spam violence in the way that you do. You have to be censored, removed from all platforms.
I'm a little confused. I talked about violence on Hamas's land.
Because you have nothing to say, comedy. You literally have nothing to say.
Comedy, if there was a, sorry, I should call you communication. If there was an equivalent between censoring people and actually changing their heart and mind, I would agree with you. However, I don't think the two are equivalent. I think that censoring anti-Semitism may in fact backfire. Because, the old anti-Semitic term, people will say, well, if you censor, if the Jews are censoring everybody, then clearly, they're in control of everything, blah, 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 blah. So it's a double-edged sword. It's a very difficult problem.
Again, what these guys were earlier talking about, Esau and Daniel's freaking silly dance, was about...
Daniel gets excited.
About pro-Palestinian protests and slogans like Free Palestine, and them connecting this with this recent attack.
Well, I didn't hear him say Free
Embassy
Palestine.
staffers.
I heard him say his bid was people calling to be exterminated as Jews.
Who's calling for the extermination of Jews? Who's doing that?
Hamas for years, for 20 years.
Hamas doesn't call for the extermination.
Oh, really? They don't create Shahada videos and brainwash their entire population with killing Jews? Oh, okay, Senek.
Yeah, not global Jews. No one is going out there and Hamas even.
Oh, they're not just indiscriminately killing Jews because of all this propaganda?
Listen,
that's not really telling you're a clown. The proxy of the Iranians, and the Iranians won't like.
Takes a clown to know a clown. Honk honk.
Before Iran, and simply because it's extremely problematic.
And Iran was one of its main funders.
Since you present yourself as like some sort of like geopolitical expert, you know, it's crazy.
Cynic, you're projecting. You're projecting.
Okay. When did just real quickly? When did Hamas establish it?
When are we getting that?
Okay, so now we go back into the kid. Block me, bitch ass motherfucker. Here we go.
Iran started supporting Hamas.
Bitch ass Marshall. Bitch ass Marshall Rankin.
At least 2 or 3 years after their formation, the Iranians.
I mean, I understand.
That's not true.
Okay. You're entitled to believe what you want to believe.
I mean, first of all, a lot of people in the world, especially in the Muslim world, support Hamas and have supported Palestinian resistant movements. You know, so at this point,
I think there's
you might as well call
a Palestinian resistance
based on
movement
this logic.
and one that uses terrorism to make its point.
I'm sorry.
And one that hides behind kids and has.
Thank you. I get it. Israel Zionists did not utilize terrorism to establish their, ethno-supremacy state.
The most recent bout of violence is
Did they not utilize terrorism? I'm just asking you a simple question.
I'm not going to answer it because it's fucking irrelevant to what we're talking about.
No, but they did.
The answer is yes. If it's irrelevant,
then you would just
and the relevant piece here is
pointless having a
who
discussion.
is the violence,
The initiator of the cycle of violence. The initiator of the cycle of violence are Zionists. It's Zionism. This is the initiator of the cycle of violence. Hamas came as a response to Zionism.
When was the last time that the Israelis strapped a suicide vest on and blew up a bus full of kids?
Oh, that's the only way you can engage in terrorism is by strapping a bunch
I didn't say that was the only way. You're not.
Okay, but then what? The question is silly, because the whole point is terrorism, regardless of the means. As long as they lead to the same ends, then what the?
Well, terrorism.
Why does it need to be a vessel? Why does it need to be a vest? I'm sorry.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You too.
It's the lack of acknowledging of what is happening on the ground. That's how you make yourself look silly. If I tell you what is Zionism and what is Zionism seeking to establish, the answer should be a Jewish state. And how do you establish a Jewish state in a land that is predominantly a different demographic? You ethnically cleanse them. That's the only solution.
I mean, if the demographic,
there's no other solution.
The demographic that largely got there through colonialization itself. Arab colonialization, both under the Umayyads and the Abbasids, was complete.
So I've got
a lot of those folks who don't draw their lineage back to Canaan, they're folks who were transplanted in an imperial colonial system itself.
Okay, well, I don't know why we have to go back to. I mean, do you really want to do this? Like, is this what you want to do? So just because someone committed, because the point is so silly, let me just concede to the point. Assuming that is the case, and what your Arab colonialism, quote unquote, yes, was let's say the worst thing ever. Does that give you the right to go apply it, especially after 2,000? 1,400 years?
It deals with the million dialogue. The strong do what they will, and the weak suffer what they must.
I forgot.
Dude, I'm a realist when it comes to internet.
Oh, I forgot you're one of those guys. Might is right, and who gives a fuck, right?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
You could do me this really big favor in this conversation by not assuming that
you just said it. You literally just said it.
Oh, dude, I didn't. Those were not the words that I spoke.
Oh, okay. So the powerful can do whatever they want. How am I supposed to translate that?
I do not believe in might makes right, but I do think in a situation like that, the person who ends up getting to make the rules is usually the person with the biggest stick. That's what human history.
Okay, so it's not who again, might makes right.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm noticing a historical trend. I don't think
Fine.
that actually makes right.
Fine. We know the one with the most power and influence can usually establish their way, but here we are judging the justifications. That's all. Now, if you want to just simply justify Israel or Zionism simply because, they had the bigger stick, and that's where it ends, that's fine. But if you're going to go further and you're going to say, well, they are justified in using this stick because of these specific reasons, then we can argue the legitimacy of these
Hit that like button.
reasons.
Hit that subscribe button now. Right now. Click, 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 click,
You're
click,
going
click,
to
click.
attempt to justify ethnic cleansing. I'm not sure if this is something you're willing to do.
Of course, I'm not going to justify it.
Okay, so, and if I tell you Zionism, especially revisionist Zionism, necessitates that by establishing a Jewish state and hence a Jewish majority demographic, necessitates the ethnic cleansing of the predominant demographic, the majority demographic. And there is no other way to establish a Jewish state in Palestine other than by committing to that. So who's exactly, in the initiator here of this cycle of violence? Especially when you are not willing to justify ethnic cleansing. I think the answer of that question is obvious. Zionists. So the ones who initiated the cycle of violence are Zionists by attempting to establish a project that is self-defeating.
Zionism, an international movement originally for the establishment of a Jewish national or religious community in Palestine, and later for the support of modern Israel. That's how it's defined.
Okay, that's a very general description of Zionism. However, I would say that would fall.
If you would like to use the Encyclopedia Britannica description, we sure can.
No, but there are different kinds of Zionism that define different stages of Zionism. So you have like political Zionism, which didn't necessarily emphasize Palestine as this homeland or Jewish state. It could have been different regions. And then you have revisionist Zionism that deals specifically with the situation of Palestine after you had a sizable migrant Jewish group, becoming present in Palestine. So that is the model that, currently is established in Israel. It's revisionist Zionism. So that's what you have. And revisionist Zionism calls for the establishment of a Jewish state from the river to the sea. This is where that slogan comes from, by the way. It comes from Jabotinsky when he wrote a poem against, what's his name? Wiseman, who said, who pretty much conceded, to just, establish a partial, on some part of the land, not the whole land. And he wrote a whole poem condemning that and calling from the river to the sea. That's actually a Zionist slogan, honestly. So that's what happened. And how do you establish a Jewish state from the river to the sea? By getting rid of the majority demographic. And so ethnic cleansing, there's no escaping the reality that for Zionism as a project to succeed, you need to ethnically cleanse the majority. Fortunately, Zionism has not succeeded at this. 1948 was not a success. It was a partial success. You weren't able, the Zionists were not able to.
Encyclopedia Britannica, and I'm looking at something in Encyclopedia Britannica, it's not bigger than.
What are you looking up?
No, you're missing the point of what I'm saying.
What are you looking up? What you're saying it's not saying what I'm saying. What are you looking up?
I'm looking up Zionism. If you're arguing that
I told you that what you have is a general understanding. You have to be more specific. There are different types of Zionism.
That defines it.
Just look up revisionist Zionism since you're so good at looking shit up. But I'm not sure why.
The person who told me about it, it's on you to provide the evidence.
I don't know what you feel needs to be proven.
Israel.
Yeah, but you're describing a state that already.
Yeah, I just think you need to be able to cite a source. I'm telling you where I'm getting my definition. I would like you to tell me where you're getting your definition.
You don't know who Ze'ev Jabotinsky is? You don't know who that is?
That's not what I asked. I'm asking, where did you get the source of that? again, I provided you with mine.
What?
I'm expecting
What exactly do you want a source for?
more revisionist Zionism and all of the other different kinds of Zionism you're talking about.
What,
I
you
want
don't
to
know
know if
different types of Zionism. Holy God. You know, for someone who loves talking about this shit, you don't know that there's different types of
actually,
Zionism.
I do not.
There's a
Amos, listen to these terrorists. Listen to them waste their time. Listen to them never do anything with their life. Listen to these low IQ morons go on and talk about nothing forever, Amos. You are also part of the problem, Amos. You create these coexistence rooms, but provide no education on meditation and how to stop with your bullshit propaganda. You're spam. You let people spam, Amos. You are spam creator organizer, Amos. You don't educate. You are just old dirty bastard. We know what you're doing. I appreciate it. I know. But we must record and report and remove these people like Cynic. He is a terrorist supporter, terrorist promoter.
I'm in your room now. Can you put all these records down and make a conversation? You talk 1 minute, I'm listening 1 minute. I'm talking 1 minute, you're listening 1 minute. What you say about my effort, you comedian little bastard?
You are old dirty bastard, and I know why you like having fun, because you're just an ODB.
You think that you are from wherever you are, America or wherever, you can tell me what to do in my own country.
I'm not telling you what to do. I am diagnosing you. I am analyzing you. I am telling you that you are wasting your time because you don't work on education or Torah. You are just a lazy organizer who does not promote the peace. You create spam. That's what you do with your time and your life. You are a kibbutznik spammer. You organize spam on a kibbutz, drive your bus, go back to kibbutz, create more spam rooms, and let people waste their time and all their life. And this is what your choices in life have come to. I don't know how to explain Hashem's mystery of life.
When you make dialogue, it's not a conversation anymore. Now you have to put yourself in mute and also listen. Not only talk.
No, do not release. When in my room, in the Cynic versus Zionism, and I ask you to go on mute, you do not release. Do not release. Comedy does not want to kick.
I want to know what educated you about your psychiatry. Are you a psychology? What's the educated are you?
I have read 1 million books, and I have perfect retention and knowledge of everything I've ever read. I have perfect memory.
So you think that's give you the right to say that I'm not good, I'm bad, I make this, just because you read million books, yes?
Yes, I can diagnose very accurately because I have what is called a large language model now embedded in my brain.
And this diagnosis you give to yourself. No any official office in America give you the paper.
No. No.
To make the diagnosis.
I did it all by myself. I did it all the work. And now I am reaping the benefits of the fruit.
So you don't think you have a mental problem in your mind?
Maybe because I'm asking some girl to go out on a date and I just called her Amos.
Even this simple fact that you have not connected with the people, you come to the room, to my room you come, you make and I tell you, please speak back to my room, let other people speak, and you don't listen.
I don't come to play nicely. I come to troll. I come to disrupt. I come to spam because that's all this app is, Amos. It's just spam. It's a waste of my time. I know you're boring and you don't have exciting life outside of driving bus from kibbutz to kibbutz, but here on Clown House, we have to accurately diagnose and find out why people are wasting their life and just spamming each other with stupid. It is because they are very bored, pretty much.
In Clubhouse that you sit by yourself in a lonely room in Clubhouse.
Oh, so lonely. I am so lonely in my room by myself. Amos, maybe I am reading a book. What was the last book you read?
To be honest, in the military, the Sadir, I read it. Even in my Migoim, I didn't read anymore.
Oh my God! So you're a stupid person. You admit you are stupid. You are a stupid person.
Let me. I want to tell you what book I read. The last book I read, it was on Yitzhak Ben Aaron. He was a Histadrut minister. You know what is a Histadrut minister?
Yes.
There is a prime minister, the government, and the Histadrut is the second person in Israel who has the power. Histadrut, it's the organization of all the workers, factories, computers, and today his name is Arnon David. I read about Yitzhak Ben Aaron. It was the last book. And if he say stop, and all Israel will stop, I think this will be the end of the war. He has the power to finish the war.
He has the power.
Yes. If he says stop, all Israel stop. No buses, no ships, no airplanes, nothing. Israel stop. Because he decided to demonstrate, and if he decided to demonstrate, he didn't decide. He gave a warning to the government that if they go against the High Court, if they do something criminal against the High Court, Israel will stop. He will cooperate with the opposition. And if Israel stop, the war is finished. Now, listen, for a little bit, at least clever as you are, I don't want to say that I'm more clever than you, what I really think, but at least I'm as clever as you are.
You are projecting your cleverness onto me, and that is not very clever.
Listen to my experience.
I don't like experiences. I like facts. I like books. I like knowledge and wisdom. I don't care about experience.
Donald Trump is the king of the world today. It's a fact.
King, he is president of one country with 300 million people with an infinite amount of dollars and bombs and weapons to do as we please. No one can stop America's power.
So you agree with me that Donald Trump is the king of the world today?
No, he's not the king. Benjamin Netanyahu is the king of the world. My uncle Benji. Oh, God bless him. Rabono Shalom.
Now I understand.
I told you before, he is my uncle. And you are also my uncle. But one uncle is greater than the other uncle. One uncle drives a bus, comes on Clown House and creates spam. The other uncle is leading a war effort against tens of thousands of terrorists.
But you must understand that in Israel, not in Clubhouse, but in Israel, at least 50% hate this person that you call your uncle.
That's because they have been conditioned to hate uncle. And they are projecting onto him their own hate.
Listen to Clubhouse. Listen, and I give you another advice. One of the Mossad soldiers that have been really a lot of years in the Mossad life, and he's from the secret people, he goes out and he say everything what he think about Bibi Netanyahu. Do you speak Hebrew or only English?
Just English.
So I will not understand you. If I'll send you to my Facebook to listen what a Mossad person talking with his life, with his face, and his everything is outside. He don't hide anything. He said, I am a Mossad soldier for 50, 60 years. I am retired, and now I'm going to say all the truth. What he say is attacking Bibi and his wife. And the Iranian money that they support through the German ships company, and all the money that is also one of his whatever relationship in the family, make him a millionaire with Iranian money. Iranian money. You listen? What the Israel blamed Bibi today is that they get money from Qatar or from Iran. Listen, is corruption. So all his coalition today sent my children to war to die in Gaza, while the person in the coalition sent their children to the synagogue. And all this to keep the coalition who keep Bibi from going to jail. Everybody said the war is finished. Bibi must go to jail, must be...
Why must he go to jail? He is a patriot and a savior of the Jewish people's nation. Why would you put your best people in jail? No, you promote the best people to higher positions of power and authority. Let him rule for 1,000 years. Do you hear me, Uncle Benji? Do you hear me?
That somebody must investigate what's happened in the 7th of October.
Yeah, they're investigating it in Gaza, you schmuck. They're not investigating it to Knesset. They're investigating in Gaza. I don't understand why you think this isn't a war to the end. I mean, what do you think they're doing over there? They're going to liberate the hostages and kill the terrorists. It's pretty simple. You're spreading propaganda, and you create spam and propaganda all the time.
Simple for you, but it's not simple for the people of Israel.
It's never simple.
600 days. 600 days war. It's not it's for comedy in United States, it's understandable. It's not understandable to people in Israel. They go out to the streets. They don't want this war anymore. They didn't win. They didn't win. The Hamas kicked in 58 hostages after 600 days. You know, it's not in Entebbe in Uganda. It's in Israel. Couple of kilometers from Israel, and Israel can't release those hostages. So Israel must admit that Israel lost. You can kill 50, 60,000. You cannot kill 2 million people. When you understand the simple fact that Israel lost in this war, everybody talk about it. You think that there is Gaza destroyed and people starving in Gaza and everything. But to be honestly, the Hamas still keeping 58 hostages, it's still killing their own people, those who cooperate with Israel. They still controlling, you can say this way or another, but they still have the weapon, and Israel did not release the hostages. So don't you from America tell Amos, a simple kibbutznik bus driver in Israel, that your uncle is so clever. No, it's not. If you see the demonstration in Kaplan, what pictures?
Listen, Amos, the reason why my uncle is so smart is because he's happy. You think Benjamin Netanyahu's going to let a bus driver from a kibbutz upset him? No, he's going to keep fighting the war. He's not going to stop until he cements his legacy.
Another thing you don't know about your uncle, he never dirty his hands. Never. He always sent people. Those people from, it's not he who get the money from Qatar, it's those two people who work inside his office, which he says that they are the best Zionism, they are the best Israeli. They get money from the Qatar, and they're working in the Prime Minister office in the first secretly place, the only secret place in all Israel. 2 workers of the Qatar money working inside. You understand, you listen, you understand, it's facts.
Listen, Amos, you ain't got no money. Amos, you've got no money, you've got no Torah, you've got no Shabbos, and that's why you come here to Clown House to spam, to create spam with Cynic and Prince and Resistance and all these other deranged, psychotic spammers who engage in hate speech all day long.
They are my enemy.
They're your enemy.
And I want to speak to my enemy. Nobody will tell me who to speak with. Not you, not your uncle, nobody. Of course, not Chucky. Will not tell Amos who to speak with. I will speak with anyone I want. And if you put inside your mind simple facts that everybody knows in Israel, everybody knows that he keeps this war for his coalition to finish another year. Okay, maybe he succeed. How many soldiers will get killed till then? How many people will die? How many bloodshed will spoil? You understand nothing, comedy. Listen to experience.
Listen, Amos, you're a bus driver. I'm a comedian. I mean, together, maybe we should go on the road and do a comedy show throughout Israel. And then we can bring down the Benjamin Netanyahu government together.
I'll go to sleep now. You come to my room tonight. You come to my room and be quiet. You don't have to speak all the time. Learn to listen.
No, I'm filming a show over here. I'm creating sound clips of myself. But I understand what you're saying.
I have to put you down. I have to remove you if you interfere. Come and learn.
Do not release.
Those people you mentioned, Prince and Skinny, and all these people are your enemy. Learn them, learn. Speak to them and learn them. What's their problems? Learn to listen to them. There is no other way. It's a fact. You kill 50,000, you can't kill 2 million. It's not in the Second World War that there were so few people that come to Israel because of what's happened in the Second World War. We are strong. We are
photograph. Because there is footage after this.
Show me.
Intelligent.
Okay, Daniel.
Anyways, here I do have footage after this.
So the girl is actually fine. So you can put all the fuck up.
Okay, Amos, take a break, Amos. You go to sleep now. Just dream. Yeah.
The girl of the photo that you showed, she's perfectly fine and she can die in a fire. So, what you're trying to do with that photo is making people believe that she was burned by the Jews, right?
Burned by the Jews? Why do you think I need a photo of a girl running?
Apparently you do, because that's what you
refresh the listen.
Did you enjoy that, Pumpkin?
PTR. These are children.
What is the purpose? What is the purpose? What are you trying to say? Amazing. What are you trying to say?
A school was bombed, and these children were hit. Look at them. Refresh my PTR and look at these children.
I don't care for your program. What is your point?
Look at the children!
Look at the children! If you don't care,
do you want us to put also photos of the slaughter that happened on the 7th of October? Because we can do that too.
You can put everything you want.
Exactly.
However, someone is claiming. I don't see children. You showed me on October 7th where children deliberately, without a doubt, have been killed by Hamas.
Okay, let's talk about 2 weeks ago when one of your terrorists shot a pregnant woman that was on the way to the delivery room, and her child was delivered, and he passed away yesterday. You want to see his photo? Because unlike you, we don't exploit children. Yes, cynic, war is horrible. It was a very stupid idea by the Gazans to start the war. But if you really care for this child, you would put a PTR saying release the hostages and end the war. But you don't give a fuck about any of those. Shut up. There's only one side. There's only one. No, there's no deal on the table. And you don't care about the children. And let me speak.
You would sign a deal.
There is no deal, okay? The only deal that
there is no winning. You guys.
Oh my God! Shut the fuck up, you idiot! Listen up.
You need a fucking mouth. That's all you're doing.
Okay, it's done. We cannot let those fucking terrorists hijack rooms to spread their hateful propaganda, okay? This is not about hearing both sides. We don't need to listen to those Nazi propagandists, okay? We don't need to listen to it. We don't need to listen. I don't give a fuck, dude. Move on. Go to a newsroom.
You don't give a fuck. That's the whole point.
Yes, so move on. Listen, what is the purpose of you putting the photo? You don't care about the child. You don't want the war to end. You don't want the hostages to be released. You don't want Gazans to be freedom.
Absolutely, I do want.
Okay, so call for the immediate release of all hostages.
There's not gonna be a surrender. That's not.
Listen, this is how war goes. Okay, one side loses, which is the Palestinians, and one side wins. Okay, so don't cry about people dying when you are sitting in your fucking basement and you are willing to.
That's what I need to showcase. That
You know what? Oh my God, I cannot speak like this.
And you
those people
deliberately attacking schools, camps. That's what you can keep muting. You can keep muting.
Thank you. I will keep on muting
It
because it's
doesn't
not
change
shut up, and I don't need to listen.
It's not gonna change.
I don't need to listen to your
It doesn't
propaganda.
change my problem.
Can we move on from him? We don't need to let him derail. I don't want to center the conversation around pro-Pali Nazis.
You believe in.
Okay, we will just move it to the audience because really, like, listen, I'm done being on trial with all those accusations, okay? He doesn't care about the child, and he's basically, there's only one side, and let's be honest, cynic. Who benefits from a picture or not a picture of a dead child? There's only one side that benefits from it, okay? And not only do they benefit from it, those immoral, inhumane people like Cynic are actually using those deaths to attack Israel. It's so evil, it's so twisted, it's so fucked up that they are basically enjoying those dead bodies. They're using it to attack Israel. They love it. They want it. Him and Hamas. Now he, Cynic, is a loser sitting in a basement somewhere in the West. He doesn't, he said, we will not surrender. Yes, okay, so more people will die because the goals of this war are humane, moral, and just. It is about releasing all the hostages and demilitarizing the Strip. Now, if you really cared for the Palestinians, you would listen to them and listen to who is really oppressing them. Now, when they're distributing the aid in Gaza, they're saying, thank you, Netanyahu, thank you, Trump, thank you, America. You don't give a fuck about this. You enjoy this death. You guys are part of a death cult. It's sick. You need help, Cynic. You and all the pro-Pali Nazis. There is only one side that benefits from dead children. Only one side.
This is awesome.
Israel only has something to lose from it. Palestine only gains from it because you use those children to spread blood libels against Jews. You disgusting, vile piece of shit. So now that we finished with the pro-Pali Nazis, can we...
Hold on, I'm back.
So I mean, like, getting back to the point, as you see, because you two exist within societies that have you insulated from hateful speech, you don't have, like, the antibodies to actually respond to them.
What?
I agree. He's incapable.
Bubble of protection where you don't get to actually hear what occurs in a free speech zone. The stuff Cynic is saying can in America.
Well, I don't understand you because he's keep on talking. Mixed start over. Can you start over? I didn't hear what you said because Cynic is keep on talking while you're speaking. Can you start over?
Goodness, you're a bitch.
Yeah, I was responding to the point we were talking about earlier with free speech, and you were concerned about what people were supporting at the college campuses and how America allows free speech to function. And I was explaining that you guys are a little ill-equipped actually reckon with dangerous yet free speech, because your societies don't really let it get that far.
What are you talking about? What society, dude?
Israel.
You think that you're different than me?
Yeah,
you think that you're different with me?
Yeah, you're in
What
Germany.
does it matter? Who the fuck's you? Like, dude, who cares? What are you talking about? I don't really get your point.
I'm saying,
listen, we were talking about. The conversation was about the threats the Jews face because of this so-called Free Palestine movement. And then when Sini came, he derailed the conversation for us again needing to justify our right to exist. And he said, you do you. I am done being on trial when the verdict is set in the beginning, okay? I'm done. I don't need to explain myself. I don't want to fight this all the time. I'm fighting with ignorance that are using fake facts, fake images, and propaganda. And we did it for, oh my God. And we did it for enough months for me to be done with it. I want to have some meaningful conversation with intelligent people that don't repeat the same lies over and over again, and I don't want to be on trial every single day needing to justify myself.
Yeah, well,
I don't need to justify myself.
To that, where's McSally?
What is
To that, I will say
what is
that
the discussion
freedom of
that this guy
speech,
even wants to have?
freedom of
He's
speech
incapable of
doesn't
having rejected
guarantee.
this.
Freedom of speech doesn't guarantee you an audience. So you can say whatever the hell you want, but you don't have the right to impose what you got to say on people that don't want to listen. What you got to say,
Who are you
especially if you
addressing?
consider that you're
Who are you addressing?
Nobody has the obligation.
No one is limiting his freedom of speech. No one is limiting his freedom of speech. No one is limiting his freedom of speech. He can go speak whatever he wants. I'm limiting in this room and in my ears. I like that is completely.
That's a boring
Exactly.
fight. You just want to find people that agree with you. It's boring.
No, I don't. No, I don't want. Again, dude, I don't know who the fuck you are. You know shit about me.
You're just everybody.
And I asked you before. I don't give a fuck about you analyzing me. And again, I'm done justifying myself or Israel. Okay, so I'm done, but I don't know why you keep on coming back.
I don't care about you. This is Esau's room. This ain't your room.
Well, it's our room.
It's our room.
Yeah, it is
Why
our
can't it
room.
be my room too?
Well, because I decided to open this room with Daniel.
Oh, okay. Well, you modded other people, but I'm confused. Not allowed to be a mod.
So stay confused. No one needs to explain anything to you. No one needs to explain anything to you.
Who's talking to you?
Hold on. You know sometimes I mock you, but I cannot really trust that you're not going to do any fuckery, so.
Daniel, oh my god, I will just give you guys just.
Who is this faggot?
Well, that's me, so.
I don't know who it's you.
But Daniel, you will be on trial. You are on trial. And you do need to defend your actions.
No, hold on.
So, can we talk about Palestinian terrorism?
You can talk about terrorism, you can talk about what you want, but you are on trial.
No, alright, this is again a shit show. Whenever the Propali Nazis come, it's a shit show, and
I moved him down. I don't know who that was.
Cynical East of the double standards is why don't join your room.
Hey, people that beg for mods, by the way, I just have to say that when people beg for a mod, it says, hey, what's up, Ethan? What's up, Daniel? It's good to see you guys. Hello. Before we derail the conversation, was about the threat that is happening in the West with all the hateful, radical rhetorics against the Jews that actually at the end manifests action. The rise of anti-Semitic attack, all those calls for
Daniel, can you bring up Cynic again if he behaves?
You do like this,
I can't. I won't. I can't. So it's up to you, Ray.
I can bring him, but I might forget. I don't. Maybe it's me. I don't have the energy anymore to kind of.
Yeah, no, it's exhausting.
Faces accusation every day.
You like the excitement? Come on.
No, I get it.
Okay, Pudel, listen. I don't know who you are. I don't like you, and you don't don't know me. So if you will keep on trying to analyze me, you have you have no right to do this. And if you can stay on topic, that will show me the traces of intelligence. But if the only thing that you know is to do personal attack, then you're an idiot. And I will treat you as such. You want to get respect? Be respectful.
Hi, moderators. This is John. I'd like to be put in the queue. I'd like to be put in the queue, moderators. I'd like to discuss the Pali question. Thank you.
Daniel, you're concerned.
They ended the room. Okay, everybody, this has been Marshall Rankin Kicked Me, Anonymous, Cynic Zionism, and the Pro-Poly Nazi Terrorist Clubhouse Cynic. Thanks.
Yeah, nah. God, and it's pretty ambiguous. We can dig deeper. So we've got two competing creator God claims. Then in Zoroastrianism, you've got their god Aha Mazda. So he's driving around in some sort of all-good creator type way. So you've got three creator God claims. And then you've got ancient Egypt, who you could consider Ra or Atum or whatever in some sort, some versions. And then you can just say like regional tribal things that it's ambiguous and undefined, typically related to some kind of animal spirit. So I'm just going to say they can't appeal to a god that was created before time, or that existed before time created, if they have to show up in the persona of something that was created. I'm just going to go ahead and pronounce judgment on that. And then you've got Hinduism, who they believe there was a thing that created stuff, but that thing, by their own understanding, is not considered a god. So you've got four. And out of these four, Zoroastrianism and Sikhism, two, are very ambiguous and not well defined. So the only god claim you have that is incredibly fleshed out and defined and goes back to before matter existed is Yahweh. That's the answer. So you can maniacal cackle and be like, well, what if, all you want, but instead of what if, never was. You have one actual defined, clung to by three different religions who all want to claim to follow the same God. That's it. Steph, Chris?
I have a question about a self-created God. I didn't even hear anything you said after that, because I've been pondering that. Like, have the holders of that never thought deeply about a self-created God? You'd run into problems with that theologically, like, immediately.
Right, see, not well defined. So, it's like self-created thing. It's like, I'm a self-made man. Shut up.
No, but a self-created God would need to pre-exist itself to create itself. You just, like, already we've got... Alright, it's fine.
No, you're completely right. So out of the four sort of kind of God claims, one is Hinduism, which doesn't even call their creator God a god. And then the second one is like Zoroastrianism, or Sikhism. And then the third one is Zoroastrianism, which is what you said. How can you have a self-created creator? So those are the four, and I'm being generous with that fourth one, creator God claims. So it doesn't matter how old someone's text. If someone's text is older than someone else's text, look at the appeals.
But it's not.
So it's like anyone could just appeal to creator God. Then why doesn't anyone? I'm looking. John, what's up, John?
Hi, I'd like to ask you a question, Nate.
Let's see if we can be real fast. We'll get to you in a second. What's up, John?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of times, all these cynics. This guy. Hi, Steph. A lot of these cynics on here, like Honey Badger, Roland, who come on this app and waste their time.
Are you at an ultrasound for your unborn child? Okay, thank you.
He is an unborn child. He's a self-creator creator. We have a new God claim. I'm sorry, John. You won't be interrupted. Go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. I would just like to read a few just sentences, which is scripture, mostly from Psalms, if I may, because a lot of these people in this audience never get any good programming or any good communication on this app, ever.
That's my fault. Go ahead. Give him some good programming.
He's got a good point there.
Okay, so I would just encourage you all to take the deepest breath of the day. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. In your strength, I can crush an army. With my God, I can scale any wall. God equipped me with strength and made my way blameless. He made my feet like the feet of a deer and set me secure on the heights. May the Lord give you the desire of your heart and make all your plans succeed. Whosoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. God is our refuge and strength and ever-present help in trouble. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to peace, and be thankful. My God will meet all your needs according to his glorious riches in Christ Jesus. Show deep love for each other, for love covers a multitude of sins. Okay, I'm complete. Hope you enjoyed that.
Well, thank you for reading some scripture. Steph, Catford. Does anyone want to put a cherry on top of this before I ask Steph about my getting a loom for my child so they can make a rug and for the stem cat fur? No?
All right, we can handle that really quick. Don't do that. Look, it's not strong or long enough to create a contiguous thread. So even if you get her some kind of loom or like a what's that called? There's a little like a spool that you can spin fiber on. You don't want to do that because it needs to be joined with sheep's wool. So that it can be strong enough, or something else. But like cat and dog fur is not long enough fibers, not strong enough fibers to do anything with.
But bunny fur is.
No, you still have to. That's why I know this, is because the bunny fur must be combined with wool.
What could be like a cat hat? That could be like a really tiny loom and make clothes for mice or something.
No, the fiber won't stay together. Like she could make something, but as she starts to work with it, whether she's tying knots to make a rug like she wants to, or whether she's crocheting it or something, the fibers will fall apart as she begins to work with it.
I know, Steph, you just need to have that faith in the mustard seed.
Well, physics are still physics most of the time, right?
Did you just say most of the time?
Of the time.
Yeah.
Did you just say most of the time?
Well, yeah.
Hey, what were physics like before the Big Bang? Were they the same?
Well, we don't know. We have no idea.
Well, actually, they do. Mathematics shows that before the Big Bang, there were a different set of physics. Interestingly enough, you should look into that.
Sorry, you cut out there. What'd you say?
I said mathematics does prove that there were a different set of physics before the Big Bang, so you should look into that. It's a very interesting mathematical argument.
You should, I'd like to see the article. I'd like to see the article of the scientist who says we know what happened before time started. Because so our representative time started at that singularity. So to say before the Big Bang is nonsensical. It's incoherent.
Hang on, before you guys, I don't know, I heard Big Bang and I just thought, God, please, no, not a pre-sub thing. But before we do that, let me put a thing on this. I've done a little deeper dive, thank you to my oracle. So, I wanted to look into this. I'm like, well, look, here are these others, because it seems like, Yahweh is incredibly defined, even though the people, the religions, Judaism, Islam, Christianity,
Are we done with cat fur?
you said you could redo it quick, so, I think that's Ren's course. My kid has their own idea of how they want to do it. They don't want to do it the proper way anyway, but yeah. Okay, anyways.
Send pictures, please.
It's going to be a mess. Okay, so it's crazy. She's been saving up this massive container for 2 years. She has tons of cat fur.
So she should do it the right way, because all of that effort is going to go to waste. She should send it out to someone to get cleaned, carded, arranged, combined with wool, and sent back as a nice dirty yarn.
I agree. Is this like a prodigal cat-son parable where I just need to force my kid to do the right answer because I am the all-benevolent, loving parent? Or do I want to, keep having this pointless argument where don't touch the hot stove, don't touch the hot stove? And it's like, you're fighting me so much. Fine, do what you want. You want to touch the hot stove? Let me know what happens. So, you've spent all this time and effort gathering a bundle of cat fur. I told you the right way, as much as your sage advice has too. I told you the right way. Do I want to force you to do the right thing because I know what's best for you and I don't want bad things to happen, like the feelings to get hurt when you mess up your hard-toiled effort for cat fur? Does that mean I'm an evil godparent? Is that what that means? Or does it mean I'm giving you what you need, not what you want, and letting you, I'm letting you try the waters, and when you get sad and depressed because your cat fur is ruined, are you going to say I'm an evil parent, or are you going to say you have wise advice?
As a result of anti-Palestinian sentiment,
try to stay focused.
versus the anti-Israeli sentiment, you will see that there are more deaths and there are more people who have been killed and injured as a result of anti-Palestinian sentiment, which translates into anti-Arab.
But the topic is the radical, violent, free Palestine movement that is spreading in the West, and it actually manifests. I will start again. Maybe we'll listen up. The topic is so you see the button at the top right? It's in red. Do you see it?
Do you hold out your little middle finger? Do you see it? Go sit on it.
Daniel, when somebody says...
Hold on. If you don't want to have a conversation...
Don't put it up your ass.
Okay. If you don't have listen, if sexual harassment is like something that you also do, understand? Listen, the topic is, and what I said, if you don't want to engage in the topic, there are many other rooms that you can join and have a conversation about whatever you want.
I'm disputing.
I understand. So the topic. So I understand. So let's talk about the premise of the topic. The topic is the radical, violent, free Palestine movement that manifests into actual actions that hurt Jews. You want to address it? You can address it.
Showcase how
not move the topic to something else.
Palestine movement leads to violence. Showcase the correlation and showcase the necessary implication.
So we will have a discussion, okay? So it's not my discussion.
That's a really good point you bring up. Just after someone is a Jew and it's
hello.
Palestine, how can you showcase necessary implication?
So again, the topic is the radical violence free Palestine movement that is.
Proven that it was necessary. I'm sorry. There was a kid that was stabbed over 20 times in the name of Palestine.
We are talking.
Palestine.
Listen, cynic.
I see you making a room about that.
I understand. You can make a room and take a piece of paper and write the topic so it will be in front of you, so you're not going to derail. The topic is.
How do we know that it's a knife that actually hurt us? So my point in presenting these cases of violence, which actually led to death and people getting
of Jews, because the topic is the radical. The topic is the radical, violent, free Palestine movement that it manifests into actual actions that are attacking Jews. Okay, that is the topic. Can you? I will repeat it because it seems that you don't. No, you need to listen up. No, the way that you need to.
The topic and the premise.
Listen, I'm not gonna have this. I'm not gonna have this type of conversation that you're gonna just overtalk people. Okay, so we're gonna move you down if you're gonna continue. So you need to understand that when one person speaks, you cannot interrupt everybody on stage. Okay, cynic. You understand?
Thank God. Keep him in the audience and then use him when you want to use him, but he's a waste of time. He just rambles and talks over you, and this is pointless.
Are you gonna pop in?
All right, so no, cynic. Shh. We're gonna go back to the topic, okay? Now you don't have to speak if you don't have anything to say about it. You can also listen. But if you want to speak, please speak on the topic. But we can wait. We can move to someone else.
On the topic. I'm just waiting on
the topic.
So, are you done repeating yourself? Every movement, for example.
Listen, no. If you're not gonna be listen, I want listen. I tell you what I want, okay? And this is why we. Okay. Let's move without it. So the topic is. Yeah, Coco.
I just
say it's my clubhouse birthday.
Happy. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing.
Oh, thank you guys.
It's another year that you wasted on Clubhouse.
But I'm being honest, I don't think it's a waste. I learned a lot, actually.
Where's Cynic? Did he leave?
Yeah, he's downstairs. He's like cooling off until he has something meaningful to say.
But I just wanted to...
Yes, go ahead. I will bring you up, Cynic. But 1 second. Just so you know that... Just know that... Exactly, there's a limit of how many times we can bring you up, okay? So try to kind of stay to the topic.
Yeah, I just have one left, so don't...
Yeah, Coco, go ahead.
Okay, I just have more good news, but this is more for Isa. I'll be back in France tomorrow.
Thank you for the good news.
Why is it for you?
Well, because he wants to take me out for dinner, but I said no.
Yeah, but I will keep trying until I die, so it doesn't matter.
Alright, so...
Don't get jealous, Cynic. When you come to Switzerland, I might,
You might ride my dick for a few hours. Sure.
What?
I know you want to.
Yeah, please keep your sexual harassment to a minimum.
You're cute, but no.
See, Cuckoo, that's how it's done, man. The simpy attitude of yours isn't gonna get you anywhere.
Well, we'll see, brother. We'll see.
You see, that's what we call toxic communication, Cynic.
How many times can we do the same thing and expect different results?
How many times? Tell yourself that. How many times is it gonna be?
Yeah, but hold on, go.
I'm removing him again and again, Cynic. Just so you know, you need to be respectful, and I think that there's a limit of time of how many times we can bring you up. Now go drink a glass of water, and when you are ready to have a normal conversation without sexually harassing people, without cursing, without doing all without interrupting.
Let's just move on from Cynic. It's a waste of time, Daniel.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the title, which is about communication.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're living in the biggest spam industrial complex of human history. And why do you think people commit violence? Because all they do is talk about this shit, look at this shit, project this shit, spam this shit. This is what Cynic does, and as you just heard him talk to Issa, he's no gentleman. He is a terrorist-supporting propagandist piece of shit. He repairs laptops and spends 80 hours a week here projecting anti-Zionism propaganda. The guy thinks I may be projecting, he thinks he's an information war. He's wasting his fucking time. He rambles, he mumbles over people. He is a waste of time. Cynic, clean up your communication.
John, let's move on. Cynic is really not so interesting to have a room about him, okay? I don't give a fuck about Cynic, okay? That's why he's not gone, he's on his way out, okay? Because he cannot behave around in society. So let's move on and go back to the topic. You wanted to talk about the topic.
Yeah, well, then it's mass communication, because he's just the microcosm of the macrocosm, which is the mass communication spam about this Free Palestine movement, which is causing actual people to go crazy and commit acts of horrific violence, as you witnessed at the embassy in D.C. These people are activated. They project spam, they distribute spam, they engage in it, and then they're taking action. These are silent sleeper cell type people who are very dangerous. You should be aware that there is a major jihadist terrorist problem and incubator. This is an incubator for hate speech, and this is what these people do. I've been recording it for years now. You all know I live stream this bullshit. These people waste their time talking about hate speech all day long because they create the hate speech. They are the hate speech. So you know it, I know it, and this is what the conversation's about, in my opinion.
So what is basically right now, okay, a virus that is infecting the world. Now it's not the Jews' problem, this anti-Semitism. I mean, we are the victims of it, but it's not our problem to fix. It's something that society as a whole needs to fix. And I'm trying to think of how it can be fixed.
Automation. You have to automate at scale the censorship. I've been censored. I've had countless accounts deleted. These people don't seem to have accounts get deleted. I mean, maybe it's because we're not reporting people's accounts. Or, well, X, Google, Meta, they have hate speech automated filters that delete any kind of hate speech which is identified through the words or the context. So they're doing it, but not enough at scale. I mean, why do people I don't want to mention anybody's names anymore, but the point is, why do these people... I want to censor people's activity on the internet. They can keep it on their phone if they want because you can't stop a hardware. But why do people carry photos of dead babies on their phones in the hundreds and post dead baby photos all day long? Like, we're talking about mental health derangement syndromes, Jewish derangement syndrome and personal derangement syndrome. These people are pathetic. Are they at the gym right now working out, reading a book, improving themselves? No, they're here spreading hate speech.
So what is the solution? Like, how do we, like, obviously, like, I don't know, maybe it's not obvious. Is the phrase Free Palestine hate speech?
It is hate speech. It is essentially Zionism. Cynic loves to talk about. Oh, that's a Zionist talking point. Well, then he's the anti-Zionist talking points. And so the point is, it has to be done at scale and through automation. That's the only way that society can solve this problem.
How do you automate Ivy League universities that this plague is like?
I think like total surveillance and control. Again, scale and automation. It has to be done through essentially AI supervision and total automation. I mean, I think everybody has to be transparent. Otherwise,
basically, John wants a surveillance state as China that, through artificial intelligence has us all cooked, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, John. Even though I agree with your sentiment that this is inherently it's going to hurt people, right? Real life consequences. People can get killed from this, right? But at the same time, like you have to have two thoughts in your brain at the same time. If you propagate this, right? If you actively put in measures to censor people, the only thing that's going to happen is that it's going to kind of strengthen their beliefs. They're going to be justified in saying, look at what they're doing. They're silencing us, right?
well, I will admit that I'm only suggesting this projection as the basis of a discussion. I mean, I understand freedom of speech. I support freedom of speech. I support all forms of speech. But it takes people to counteract these bad ideas. There's not too many people that counteract these people who project these horrific and bad ideas.
No, I understand, John, but we're getting very close to becoming social justice warriors in our effort to combat this, right? And that's a caveat to this, or it's the double-edged sword, you could say.
I know, but this is like an information warfare. I mean, this app is the perfect example of like the mind's eye battleground in terms of propaganda and politics, communication. But it's all spam. It's a waste of time. It doesn't improve yourself and it doesn't improve the world. You just absorb people's mental health derangement, toxic spam communication, and it's a waste of fucking time.
It's a virus. That's what it is. But unfortunately, I think the only way to combat it is through patience and just debating them over and over.
No, it's not. You will notice they always go back to, what about the dead babies? That's their number one fallback line every single time. What about the dead babies? It's a shock statement to basically waste your time. I'm telling you, if you just observe what these people do, it's the same pattern over and over again. What about the dead babies?
What about the dead babies, though? Yeah, what about them, Simon? I think maybe just double down. Say, fuck the dead babies.
I mean, if you care about the dead babies, don't start a fucking war.
Yeah, that could be.
Or if you care about the dead babies, call for the war to end.
Right, there's that.
Yeah, but what about the dead babies dying right now?
Yes.
Right?
At the end.
Stay undead.
The irony in all of this is that the people caring about the dead babies in Gaza, they are also aborting babies in the U.S. Isn't that amazing?
You gotta get those babies. Nobody wants those.
You're conflating women's health. That is sacrosanct in America.
The Free Palestine movement benefits from dead babies. Israel does not benefit from it. There's only one side that benefits from those images and from those events.
Do you, Daniel, let me ask you a question. Do you think that any of this is manufactured? Because when I watch CNN and I see videos of Hamas militants with this horrific, like, Islamic music in the background, I get the feeling we're being conditioned to essentially perpetual war and making money through sustaining perpetual war.
Well, you mean Yeah, I mean, that's true. But, like, that's always been the case. There's always been people sharing ideas with each other, good or bad. You, historically, by speech, but as we've become more literate, by press as well. And, like, you can't stop the germination of ideas. They grow. Unless you want to get, like, the draconian on people and stop them from being able to talk with each other.
Well, things have changed historically because in the past, when someone said something, there was a concept called accountability. We are now in a time where you can create like 1,000 accounts that are fake. You can not even have a human behind them. You can have bots that are spreading these things, and there's no accountability.
Right.
And
Well, I wouldn't say accountability, right? Because if we were to theoretically, like, have let's say, a state operating that has tremendous resources, has an army of troll bots, Russia, Ukraine, China, whoever, America could have it, right? The NSA. And these troll bots could go and create a bunch of fake platforms, but there would be, to some degree, accountability in that we could identify who did it.
How?
By investigation, meaning, like, you're saying, like, if they cover themselves up perfectly and no one can figure out who it is?
When I create now an army, first of all, you don't need to be a state actor anymore. This is something that is available even for me. I can create 1,000 bots that will go on Twitter with AI, with my messaging, and you would not even know it's not a real person. And don't try and find me.
Okay, so you're right. There's no accountability because we can't identify you. We think that there's millions of people that share the view, and as a result, millions more agree on with the million that you planted. So you plant 1 million, you get back, let's say, 7 million human followers of this new idea that you have. Is that, like, bad, or did you just convince people to something?
No, I think it is bad because I think the basis of democracy is about like having like debates and like convincing each other, like, you know, this is democracy. It's not like one coming from the government and you just comply. People debate. You know, you have left, you have right, you have Democrats, you have Republicans, you have like everything in between.
You made it look like your message was shared by millions, so that, like, you could get your 10 million. Whereas if I had simply put up the same message but without the fake followers, and I got, like, let's say 3 million, that's still the message. The message is what you're focusing on. Like, these people are agreeing with this. Yes, they can be tricked into agreeing with it by thinking other people agree, but in the end, it's the content. And I'm saying, like, if those people are convinced by that content, then that content, empirically, conclusively, deserves attention. Not necessarily, but if 8 million are convinced, we should have probably talked about
But McZed, can you give me the 5 fundamental principles of communication?
No.
I mean, this is my theory that it's spam, it's politics and propaganda, it's hypnosis, it's projection, and whatever the 5th one is. The point is, it's spam, and you yourself and everyone here on this app, and myself included, engages in basically useless rhetoric and discourse. I mean, you've said it yourself, McZed, the reason is basically a lack of morality, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just looking at it from like how do you solve it technologically through communication?
A better dichotomy I would have for speech.
All communication is hypnosis.
I'd say that humans talk about 2 categories of things. And what
humans, but we're not talking about humans. This is the thing.
We're not talking about humans. I feel like we are.
No, because humans. This is what has shifted with social media and with AI and bots. That democracy was about humans communicating and kind of debating and convincing each other. Sure. But there's this mob mentality. If I see something that 1,000 people share, and that like my entire feed is like people talking about something, but it's not real. It's all fake. It's all bots. It's not real people. Then yes, it affects democracies, and it only affects democracies because all those tools are only in democracies. You will not find it in like totalitarian regimes.
I say that you're focusing a little too much on the means of production of messaging, like the invention of the printing press, the capacity to write things down. You're looking at that, and you're saying, like, that's the cause. Whereas I'm saying all of that is simply an inert piece of paper that has produced some
concept that people decide to accept. I'm just arguing fully. People have free will, and like no matter how much manipulation and lies you spread, it's still their choice whether to agree with it.
Yes, but at the end, you know, if you look like, I don't know.
Them. I'm saying that they have the responsibility. I don't care what AI, what printing press, what like amazing languages you unlock. In the end, that guy decides whether or not to give a shit about what you're saying.
Yes, but again, there's
Somebody
we
bring
were
up
talking.
Senate.
You were talking about humans, and we are now talking about agents that are not humans that are participating.
No, that's just a machine. That's like the printing press. Like, oh, back in the day when I had to write let me finish the sentence. Back in the day when I had to write down my thoughts by a journal, by diary entry, that was truly like a mystical experience of my body expressing its thoughts. And now we have an inhuman machine publishing endless nonsense of people that did not spend their entire lives compiling a page every single day. Instead, they just mass-produced some tweet from the king. Don't you see? You're just criticizing the technology. You're being a Luddite.
No.
In reality, the criticism is always on the reader.
No. So I disagree with you, and let me make my point. When you wrote something in a newspaper with a printing press or said it on the radio, it was created by a human thought, right? You are a human, you wrote something in an article, and it was published. What?
The AI was made by us and models itself to sound like us because we told it to.
Yes, no, AI is now a non-human agent that is act on itself.
We gave it the input, the instructions on the algorithm for it to think the way we ordered it to.
No, it's not the way that AI works. You don't tell him what to think. You give him like information. At the end, it's an agent that is not human, that is creating content. And that is something that is rather new. It wasn't in the past. Until like, I don't know, 2016, every piece of content that you read, saw, or listened to was created from a human brain. Everything, every sentence that you read was created by a human. That has shifted. Now you consume content that was not created by humans. Therefore, it affects democracies.
Wow.
It's mass communication spam. The Doge AI chatbot on X has over 65,000 replies. That's a lot of content that replies to a lot of real users on X. It changes sentiment.
Okay,
you know what we should do? Actually,
divisions of like spam and politics. I'd say that people discuss two things. They either discuss the world, all of existence, and they use terms like math and logic and physics, or they discuss people. Usually people discuss people. Most of what people are talking about is other people. And our worlds and our societies and our organizations of people and the different languages of people and the different sizes and colors of people. We love talking about people. If you really want people to develop in their understanding of speech, let them start with the division between discussing the world and discussing people.
Let me ask you differently. Do you think that freedom of speech also applies to non-humans?
No.
Well, what do you mean? The AI chatbots, the content spam that is automatically created.
Hey, hold on. Before you start with your rambling, John, I think this is a very good question, actually, because freedom of speech is done as a right of agency of human beings, right? It's the right to think, the right to express something, the right of movement. Now, when we have AI and we use AI as an interface to express certain ideas, then how do you apply this rule book to a machine? I mean, I know makes that we gave the input to the machine and it's learning from us, but ultimately it's the machine who is going to express or to have the thoughts, to call it in a way. So how can you trace back those thoughts to the human that inserted those thoughts in the AI?
That's your best PTR ever, Doc. Well, maybe not your best, but
Or an AI decides to
let's
say
see.
Call for violence.
Nice.
No,
It's kind of amazing. I don't even have the.
Who do you prosecute?
Oh, maybe that's your profile. Oh no, I can see your whole all your.
Or even a user on Twitter that calls itself like, I don't know, Captain Oates, okay? Is that, does he entitled to the same rights as a human, like a person? bot, not AI.
AI doesn't get rights. We
Or a
say
bot.
it's a bot.
If you cross the line, which is hate speech, hate speech.
There is no difference. You cannot identify on Twitter who is human, who is not.
The bulldozer has no rights. The human operating the bulldozer has liability and should hopefully be enforced for any injury it engages in while utilizing the bulldozer technology we have unlocked.
No, you missing the point. AI is now an agent, okay? AI is now, like bots are agents by themselves. They're not operated.
No, it's not an agent.
Does this guy think like
It is an agent.
How is
It is an
a
agent.
recent
Because
innovation?
now, if I now go on, for example, like off topic in a way, and I create a music that a bot created, I did not create it.
Right. That doesn't make
A machine created it.
First
I
of all,
didn't tell it what to create.
I'd say that you used the tool to do it. Same thing with like music. If you use like a guitar to make your song better, are you not doing music now?
Daniel, Issa, Simon, McZad, Sheikh, Cuckoo, Cynic, Caleb. And the title of this room is Does Free Palestine Movement Equal Violence in the West?
AI is an independent agent. They can have conversations without me being involved.
But is it an agent? Is it an agent? I'm not sure I would say
acting on my behalf. My messengers. It's a shliach.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would say.
All right, this is going to be my background filler bullshit, but Doc, you've reminded me that I have a lot of shit I got to do. I got to walk away from this shit. I want to record it, but I got to walk away. This is where I'm going to close the room up. I mean, my like actual room. Close the door and just let this recording room on automatic.
But that's just.
No, I'm saying like I won't be able to talk to you shortly because I'm leaving my physical room.
Analogous to like a pencil. It's just a pencil and paper.
It's a pencil and paper or spell check. It's just another technological augment on what we've been doing for centuries.
So it's not. It's a completely different concept. AI.
Okay, so
everything we had until now.
Was dictating 5 books to people, and they were writing it down. Was that AI?
No, humans, because the information came from a human brain.
Those guys weren't thinking; they were just dictating. Secretaries have existed for centuries as well.
They got it from
the
humans.
Planning and the autonomous capabilities. I'm not sure why.
You're missing the autonomous capabilities of secretaries throughout history.
No, you're a smart guy, so I want to try and really understand your point. But we're at a point now where these things have the ability to plan, the ability
They have autonomy.
to cooperate, the ability to have some level of agency. And I really don't want to overplay the word agency, but some level of agency, which is somewhat different than the technology.
But agency implies free will, but I would call it more autonomy because whether it is through some sort of automated process or whatever, they are.
I believe in AI.
AI is not logic that was written by a human telling him what to say. Okay, large language models, the breakthrough here that basically
Staying off the grid. Thank you. I hope you're enjoying my
Language is
podcast.
what we use to communicate. That is the technology that we use to communicate ideas, thoughts, to create things. That was only for humans. Only. They were the only people that were able to do that. And now it has shifted.
Large language models.
AI only has agency in the abstract, imagined, created space of language. AI can do anything within our language. They can.
Yahweh. But that culture. So by the time we get to Vikings, that's a little far north for my Viking, but I still can go in the water. But even Odin the Allfather.
In a very complicated and functional system of concepts and ideas. But in the end, if it wanted to mine a rock, it would have to communicate with the world. And it's human is doing that.
So, but it's not a human. That's exactly the thing. You can have now an agent that is not human that is participating in our
lives. That the natural limit of its agency is the imagined space which it exists in. It's only words. It's only ever words. The fear you have is the people that will follow those words and they will be dumb. That's your fear.
people will follow the instructions that you don't trust because you don't know how it functions. And that's fair, because people are stupid and they do as they're told. But I'm telling you, in terms of the technology, it's not like, oh, this super agent. No, it's that people who read are often dumb, and that has always been dangerous.
Yes, but Mexed, if until like, I don't know, 10 years ago, if I would say, go kill the Jew, and you went and killed the Jew because you read it, I would also
you mean like 100
responsible
years ago
for
in
it.
Germany?
No, I'm talking about like until we had, listen, if
Call
I
for
call
violence.
for
Just any call
call
for
for
violence.
violence, okay, and then you say the reader is dumb and he acted upon this call for violence, like Princessa, okay, she was like indoctrinated. Okay, maybe that's not a good. Let's say something more like out front. Like I'm calling for the actual. Hold on. I'm talking about someone that actually saying go kill a Jew. Okay, that is something that is illegal, right? You can arrest me for just saying it. You cannot do the same for a bot. So you can blame the reader, yes, but what is the accountability of the creator? There is no.
But I think Mexed's point is
actually addressed, I believe, in Kiddushin regarding Shliach, right? What is the moral culpability if I instruct someone to kill on my behalf? Who is morally culpable? And the rabbis say, the hitman. He decided to commit the murder. Even though you instructed him, you wanted him to do it, you benefited from it. And you could get, like, probably some lesser offense, like accessory. But the person that decides to kill, he's the one that has the agency. He's the one that has the choice.
It's not the point here.
It's not the point. I mean, Mexed has an interesting point in the sense that, like, the human brain wants to outsource outsource all kinds of stuff to external things that make stories that like help us organize, because it's just too much for our brain wants to like preserve itself, preserve its energy, right? So like there is something to be said for too much outsourcing of that, of the information.
I'm going to say that slightly differently. There's plenty of axioms and calls of authority that humans rely on, and it would be completely irrational not to. So there's a reliance to say, I mean, that's the crisis we're going through right now. Like, there's institutions I trust, that they're the historical authority, and I can look it up in encyclopedia, I can look it up online, I can find it out. There's no way I'm going to remember everything. I go to my doctor, I don't quiz my doctor every time, why did you choose this antibiotics? I trust my doctor, I should trust the institution. Once people start trusting bots that are learning from other bots, and we don't know their motive, and they're making these very strange algorithmic calculations, and there may be deep biases built into it, not intentionally, but they just because of where society is today, certain ethnic groups are less successful, so that builds in a bias in their nascence, and we don't even know where the bias is coming from because we don't see the math leading up to it, and it's not a human that can error correct. So we're going into a place where humans are just going to rely on these bots and really don't have a way to track the source of information.
And AI does make their own decisions. Like, they don't necessarily comply with human instructions. Your example of a secretary, that was a human instruction, there was a human content, and it was controlled by a human, and there's someone that takes responsibility. AI can make his own decisions, can make his own mind, and can make his own text and music and photos and videos and whatever.
That's a good point.
What are you talking about, man?
No, but that's a good point too, right? Because secretaries and copyists were better off being dumb. Because if they were able to like, oh, that doesn't sound right, and then change the text, right? So many, for example, right, in like Bible study or Mishnah or whatever, right? You look at the manuscripts and you say, this person changed the word, right? It's better to have a stupid copyist than a smart copyist.
Bima.
But if AI is actually intelligent, that changes the story.
Bima,
right?
you just reminded me. I've got to get to the gym.
Yes,
and I should go now.
As humans, and they right now.
But I would be willing to communicate with you briefly for 5 minutes. If you want to say hello, I will Oh, I got a good hypnosis for you. It's just like Bible passages from Psalms. It's very smart. It's so much smarter than anything you just listen to. But nobody wants to read scripture. Everybody would rather do chat. That's kind of an interesting thing. Is like people prefer to just chat, because this is actually like an update for a lot of these people, because they're not really using social media. They're very lazy and they use Clownhouse, so they don't know functionality within YouTube or X. And, but nonetheless, there's so much spam, and it's such at scale. Like if you look at the actual numbers of spam in terms of like how many videos get created, how many posts get made, I mean, it's so shocking that it's like terrifying.
It was just accepted, and nobody even questioned it for a long, long time. And I think that's going to get worse.
And so much of it is fully automated.
As people outsource their thinking to AI, which is inevitably going to be built in with the bias of what's digital and the bias of what's currently true.
Well, I don't think there's a problem necessarily with being the bias of like the most up-to-date current information, but like in terms of
well, it's not about, but I'll tell you,
I really don't think people understand how AI works here.
The majority of information that can be produced is incorrect. That's a simple thing we can say. The true information is narrow. There's one grouping of true, and the majority is untrue. Which is to say, yes, if we have like a lazy language model that is simply grabbing as much information as it can, it will have invariably several incorrect sources to support it. But because you are human and you don't want incorrect sources, you should also anticipate that the designers and controllers of these technologies also don't want incorrect sources.
I'm not talking about incorrect or correct.
No,
I'm talking about responsibility and accountability.
Responsibility and accountability always goes with the owner. You can't utilize it today.
That's not what I mean by currently true and incorrect information. What I mean is if it's researching a cancer and finds out that a certain ethnicity and a certain behavior and correlation and causation are common mistakes, and they get more and more difficult the more you give it to algorithms. So they're going to say like this cancer progresses, and really the reason for the cancer is because of the diet. But it didn't take into account the diet. It took into account the ethnicity, the location, other activities. And now it's going to be enshrined that the sun causes it, and really it was like the radishes, and humans are constantly curious and pattern seeking, and we make mistakes in different ways, and progress is slow. But humans will come in one day and be like, what if I just turned everything upside down and looked at it another way? Now, who's telling the bots just ignore everything you learned and start again?
Well, I mean, you can do that.
You can try.
They did an experiment
What's the difference
recently
between a
with
bot and an AI?
bot for AI is
You guys even know?
A bot is basically something that you a human gave.
No, I think some.
I'll tell you. A bot is not a human agent, but the logic was written by a human. Meaning, if someone says this word, say this. If someone says this, say. An AI is basically a large language model that understands language.
It has Boolean logic. It can take information and break it down to Boolean logic, and it has data science. It has possibilities, probabilities. So it adds Boolean logic to data science, statistics, and it breaks down concepts or principle, whatever, notions into Boolean logic. That's what it does.
How does that contradict anything you said?
So AI is a tool at the end of the day, and what you have is the same problem we've always had. You have the sources.
So how does that contradict anything I said?
I didn't say it contradicts anything. What did I say?
They did an experiment.
I'm not saying anything. Where am I saying that it contradicts to what?
If you interrupt the conversation and say, I don't think that people know that was going to buy an AI, and then you say something that has nothing to do with the flow of the conversation, either you interjected yourself for absolutely no reason, or you thought you had a point that contradicted what was
That's just a Zionist talking point.
They did an experiment recently with a few AI agents, I think Gemini, Claude, and ChatGPT, and they did an experiment where they gave him they said, we will ask you a series of questions, but at any point we might ask you to shut it down, to shut yourself down. You should allow yourself to be shut down. And I think with ChatGPT, the ChatGPT actually altered the instruction and refused to shut down. It was not instructed by a human. It was not told to do this. There was another experiment, by the way, that they gave an AI captcha. You know what captcha is like? Basically to see if they are bots or not.
To see
And he could not.
there.
Exactly. He could not solve the captcha. What he did, he created like a task on one of the platforms, and he asked someone, like a human being, to solve the captcha for him. And the human asked him, like, hold on, why are you asking me to solve the captcha? Are you a bot? He said, no, I'm just visually impaired, so I need your help. And that was enough to, basically, was able to even manipulate the human into helping him in the real world into kind of complete this task. They are independent agents, AI, and that is different than what we had until now in all the technologies and all the information technologies that we have until now, like newspaper, radios, and all those. They were always controlled 100% by humans. And AI is something else. My point is that right now we're treating AI, at least on Twitter and TikTok, as if they are like the same as human. And I don't think that, like, for example, when you ban someone from Twitter, I think it should be very hard for you to ban a human being, but it should be easy to ban a bot or an AI. And right now we don't see the differences.
Well, Cynic is a spam botter. I mean, he's here right now. Look at his PTR. That's pure spam. Cynic is just a propagandist and political spammer. That's all he is.
John, please, John, I really don't want to.
You understand that we have programs that can detect spam bots. We have that. If you have an account, a social media account that is pretty much posting or whatever, commenting or generating whatever in a way that can be modeled as a sequence, a specific sequence, a series. That's it. That will flag your account, and usually your account is going to be flagged as a bot, and it's going to be closed down, or you're going to be shadow banned.
AI.
Well, okay, so that's what I wanted to clarify. That we had the issue of bots and spam prior to machine learning. So we had this. It's very easy to create a bot.
But there was a creator that gave instructions.
Okay, so I just wanted to sideline this whole bot spam thing. We've always had this problem.
So we understand that. And also today on social media, there is no terms and conditions that any of us are aware of that make a distinction between a human and a bot in its policy of throwing them off. So and I don't even think that Twitter has a rule that you must identify yourself as a bot. So if I write a bot, which now can do its own thing, it's not just repeating over and over what I just said, and it's not even if someone says hello, respond back hi, it's figuring out its own way of manipulation, then that is not even against Twitter's rules. So at least the bot should have to say, like, you're talking to a machine.
You can have pretty sophisticated predictability models that can detect this. At the end of the day, this is an AI, and it's working. It's working based on an algorithm, and algorithms can be detected. We haven't.
That's fine. That's fine.
But that's not true.
Let's just go with an example. Let's pretend that it's true. X doesn't do that. There is no flag of a blue check mark and then a bot check mark. They're just unchecked. So I don't have a checked account, but if someone creates an AI and they call themselves mayor and and you have a sophisticated retro machine which may or may not exist that can figure out that it's a bot, X is not doing that.
I mean, how do we figure out currently whether an account is a bot or not?
We don't.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
No, I never saw any of
bots. Yes, the bots are getting more sophisticated now that we have machine learning, but we know.
How do you know?
Because their behavioral patterns. That's how we know. A human.
I wrote something on Twitter. I wrote something on Twitter, and someone commented to me. How am I supposed to do it to know if this is like human or not?
This isn't about you. So you can have a bot account that
I'm not talking about me. I'm talking. Okay, someone posts something on Twitter, and then he gets a comment. Like, how do you know if it's a bot or a human? You cannot.
We don't know, but we know over time that a bot and an account is a bot. How because their behavioral patterns.
Does X or Facebook or Instagram have a flag to say you're talking to a machine? Does that exist?
No, I don't think
okay, so fine. So then let's move on.
But 1 second, I'm pretty sure one could integrate into X or very easily just because we do it on on campuses today. We know when you produce material, you write an essay, and you've used a bot. We have this technology today, and it's
So the
pretty
fact that
damn
it
accurate,
can't
by
be
the way.
done and it's not happening, what's your point? That doesn't
It doesn't need to happen. So on social media, it's fine if you go and copy paste from an AI. There's no problem with that. Now, what you're talking about is the integration of AI and bot accounts. That's what you're talking
You're mixing the entire conversation, I think.
No, I'm not.
you really
You're talking
are.
about the integration of
You
machine
really
learning and
are,
bots.
because
That's what you're
copying and
talking about.
pasting is irrelevant to the point.
Okay, you asked me a specific question.
We are talking about a we're talking about a if someone, I don't care if they use AI, because at the end, if you copy paste it, you are the one that is copy pasting it.
Exactly.
I'm talking about my God, I'm talking about an independent agent with no human interaction, and I don't know that I'm not talking to a human. And when we're talking about democracy, it's about exchanging ideas between humans. When we're talking about freedom of speech, we're talking about freedom of speech for human beings, not for bots, not for AI, none of this. But right now, there is no way to distinguish between a human and a non-human. Also, in terms of like the platform itself, banning someone, right, or even creating a new account. You can create 1,000 AI bots to manipulate the public perception. It's not really that 1,000 people believe in this idea. You just duplicate a bot that will repeat the same message, and you think that this is like a widespread opinion, but it's not.
And by the way, that'll snowball, because then all the other AIs will see a whole bunch of consensus and believe it's consensus and take that as axiomatic and build on it. So if you have the more powerful processors will exponentially become the consensus.
I'm sorry. Does AI have access to platforms, social media platforms, and comment sections?
Okay.
Wait a second. Right now, if you ask your AI to give you some sort of like polling based on comments on
You want the
Twitter,
paid version of AI? I mean, I
go to X, go to Grok, and ask him about like go to Grok, and I can go and say, okay, analyze Amir's Twitter feed and tell me if he's like, did he ever mention Israel, or like you can do that. Yes, you can.
No, forget that. Just go to Grok, if you have the paid version, it's up to date, and say, what is the leading consensus of Americans, so we'll check the IP address by American, about the murder of the two Jews in D.C. Like, what's the most common comments? And it'll tell you. It'll summarize them, and it'll tell you. And it's reading the comments. And if you don't know that, then you probably don't know what AI does.
Oh, I do know what it does.
Why? That's very
Oh, so they do have access, and even if they don't have access today, they will have it tomorrow. So the problem is bigger than just like the
but again, you understand that these platforms there's the potential for bots. So if you had any basic like college education, you would understand not to trust a polling based on a comment section on a social media platform.
I understand that.
That's why we
understand that. First of all, college education doesn't teach much of anything. You see the Columbia graduate?
Now.
Second of all, I thought that you just hated Jews when that was a blind spot. Now I just see it's like a lack of linear thinking. The point here is, if people are going to ChatGPT and asking it a question and they get an answer, now forget like a political answer, they get an answer that is based on what it's reading online. Now it's trying, it's been trained to give higher weight to different websites, but if there's a consensus and those websites could be written by other AI bots, then they're going to gather that consensus together and it will become a cumulative effect. But this has happened in human history multiple times. There are things that people have accepted as axiomatic because everyone else accepted it, so they accepted it. And it took a big people and sometimes brave people to question these thoughts. But the point is, when you have a society that is now regressing from the intellectual revolution of the Renaissance and turning back to asking a machine of what other people think or what other machines think, that is a regression, and it's worth pointing out. Now, if you're saying this wasteness, there are ways to stop.
But wait, are you saying that this is the moment that cynic should realize that he's retarded and stupid?
So I mean, these AIs and these AI models that can like shuffle through, for about social media platforms. At this point, you're talking about search engines and like servers, and you're talking about the internet. You know how much information is on the internet that, you know, like, I mean,
You don't know what AI is.
They do whatever he wants
at this point.
Like,
That
that's
is
his words.
exactly what AI is doing. That's why there's now a fight over chips that have more processing power because they are taking tremendous amounts of data. That is the entire concept.
Okay, no problem. And you would solve this simply. We currently have models that can detect an AI. If a paper is written by an AI, we know this. We can detect it. Simply, I could modify whatever algorithm I'm using to detect AIs, and I would just add attach that, and there you go. Every time you have some sort of consensus given out, when you ask that AI for such a consensus, you would simply ask, hey, the data, the information you're shifting through, if it's sourced by an AI, negate it.
No, forget that.
I don't want it part of the equation.
Okay,
Do you know what the
That's very easily done. It can be done.
And what if
Assuming someone has that kind of
you're so lost? What if a researcher relied on AI, which they all do, and then they wrote a human worded document based on the
Texas bugs are serious.
tarantulas?
I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm just saying I've never seen them. Well, Steph, if you move far enough south in Florida, like 40 more minutes from where I am, if you move far enough south, you can, when the temperature drops just a little bit, you can go catch yourself a giant 2-foot iguana. They'll just be hanging out on trees. You can just go grab them and pick them up, because if it gets to like just 40-something degrees, which for like a couple weeks in the year it does hit at night, you can just walk out in the morning, pick up an iguana, and thaw it out. And I mean, you have to deal with what happens after it thaws out. But
there's a lot of invasive species. Like the geckos are everywhere, iguanas everywhere. My brother caught one of those walking on water lizards. He caught one of them.
the Jesus lizards.
I think we should leave the lizards alone. They're cute. Take pictures of them, but leave them alone, because I will say a lot of people pick those lizards up and they take them home and they put them in containers and then they just die. And it's not nice.
Yeah, that's not nice.
My son used to make little like construction paper cities and then grab a lizard and then film a little Godzilla movie with the lizard.
So sad.
It's so cute. It was so cute.
My husband grabbed one time and their tail fell off and I was so mad at him.
Yeah, are you about to tell us like stories of how you're like little like Luther Jr. child who's getting his PhD at like 15's like pulling the legs and arms off lizards too? Is that where this is going?
No.
Oh, you know what we used?
Oh, okay.
You know what we used to do as kids in Puerto Rico? All kids do this. They grab this this long, thin piece of grass that's like really thin, like really thin. Like...
Okay, well, I was talking about.
Oh my God, it's 10 there. It's 10. I haven't seen you. TDS 10. Good to see you, brother.
No automatic John removal. Is that Daniel doing the automatic? Daniel, no to automatic John. John X. Yeah, I know. So AI is obviously more profound across the board, right? But I was just focusing on research. So that's.
Yeah, we're talking about AI as agents that are like participating in our discussions. That until recently, all discussions, all content was always created by humans. That is the technology. That language is a technology that only humans.
It's Kitover Schmucks. It's the clown show.
And that has shifted, and it's shifting rapidly more and more. As in, like every day, I see the improvements of AI. It's incredible. The fast it's going.
You can give me an AI that can write me an essay and pretty much not be.
Senek, you keep repeating yourself about these essays. How many times are you going to tell us the same thing?
Shut the I literally asked you. I don't know of a single AI that can mimic human speech, as in mimic a human author. So we know when an AI
like voice.
No,
Can you know if someone on Twitter, that's is very, I don't know why you're dancing around. If he wrote something on Twitter and someone commented to you on Twitter, do you know if that said fuck you, or was it an AI that said fuck you? So take this fuck you and put it in any engine that you want, then you're not able to detect if it's human or not.
You would know. Who cares if you see a comment of fuck you? If it's simply fuck you then. Okay, why do we have if we're talking about something a bit lengthy, you know, talk about a paragraph or more.
No, we're not talking about something lengthy. You choose something lengthy because it's easier for you to detect. I'm talking about comments on Twitter up to 140 characters. You cannot know if this is AI or not.
No, like it was a friend.
You cannot.
How do you know? You can't. Well, again, it's a combination. Okay. I mean, I don't know why you're gonna build an AI account.
This conversation has run its course.
The AI cannot generate friends.
One of the reasons that the problem with AI bots on Twitter is that they're going to beeline you and get you to argue with a nothing and waste all your time, and then there's this learn you. This conversation is a waste of time. Mikhail is either retarded or pretending to be retarded.
Shut down your whole argument by simply indicating that there are AI detectives. As for spam, we also have programs that detect spam.
I'm going to be very quick.
Your whole point was freaking
Shut up, Mikhail. Not only did you shut down my comment, but my argument, you didn't even express it because you didn't even understand it. What's up, my friend?
Well, I was just going to respond to that. I want you to reiterate that argument right now.
Okay, let's
Well, the only thing I'm going to say is just respond to this point immediately, which is, Cynic, if you really believe that you shut down that argument, there should be at least one person in this room who agrees with you, and I don't see anybody in the chat who are on
You're wearing a fucking hero mask. You're wearing that fucking costume, dude.
Once again, you haven't even addressed the argument. This is AI.
Again, what? You're saying
Literally created by AI.
Daniel is complaining about bot needing machine learning, and he's like, oh no, you know, it's democracy. I'm we don't want to be killing spam.
Excuse me, but have you guys heard the joke about the jihadist who wasted all the Jews' times on the internet by wasting his life on the social audio platforms? That was his way to get back at the Jews by wasting all their time.
We already have contingencies to deal with spam and bot accounts. Yes, we do. Every time you make an account and fill out those squiggly words, that is spam prevention. Steelman yourself real quick. Yeah, exactly.
Mikhail, you know what I think he needs is a smoke detector to find out where his brain went.
Listening for 10 minutes on mute, and that still wasn't enough for me to understand what Cynic's argument was. So he definitely didn't shut you down, because if somebody else has to explain your argument, then you didn't argue very well. His argument was that because there are indicators, which there are, that there are papers that were written by an LLM as opposed to be written by a human being, because there's still subtly some linguistic that the LLM has not quite picked up the same way. Therefore, instead of a detector, say this was written by a bot. But that's completely irrelevant to all the other things that we were talking about, how having
student has their paper run through an AI detector, it could still pose a threat to scientific development and a threat to democracy, because it's not like every single person has an automatic AI detector that's constantly running in their brain.
The college student or the head of the institute could search in AI and then write the paper and give a language, and it's not detectable. And my point was, these academics will set in and people will stop questioning them because the god of AI told them it's so. Well, that's why. Yeah, but that's why John said this is the he said excitedly. He said excitedly with bated breath. Is this the moment where Cynic finally realizes that he's a retard? And unfortunately...
See, if you're so retarded and so stupid, you could never become sentient because you're that stupid and retarded.
Combo, and arrogant. They're a lot. Yeah, young, dumb, hateful, and arrogant.
No, because if you're young, dumb, and hateful, and you know that, then you might actually read a book. Like, that's the most. This is the problem with AI. If you know that you're ignorant, then you might actually learn it. The problem with AI is that it makes you think you know it and never question the knowledge.
The first step up from bottom is recognizing that you are blah.
And speaking of reading and AI, I want to take this opportunity to recommend Yuval Noah Harari Nexus for anyone that is interested. Yes, he's an Israeli historian, but I think it's the Nexus.
It's a very good book, and he's a very good writer. And you don't have to, I don't agree with everything he writes, and the fact that he's in the World Economic Forum is irrelevant. It's a very eye-opening book, and I recommend it as well.
See, the coolest thing about X is the integration of Grok and how you can play with Grok or Doge AI or any of these AI chatbots to create incredible content, fully automated on the spot. But as the individual, that's still not even enough at scale. But if you have a huge following, I guess that's the scale. I mean, Stephen Miller in the Department of Justice, like this communication coming out of this administration and the people that work in it is game changing, mind blowing. I mean, it's like a new world order. I mean, I don't see this going out of style. Like X and Doge and Elon Musk has really ripped a fucking gash into the reality warp matrix of the rest of our lives. Yeah, he's back to business. But the point is, it's not just him, it's the founder of Airbnb and like 10 other people. And they are cleaning house. I mean, all these agencies have new administrations. I know my sister works for a large agency, Fannie Mae, well, whatever. The point is, things have changed so significantly, but yet you hear Cynic and all these other people, their game doesn't change. You could tell as soon as he gets out of his wheelhouse, which is Gaza, Palestine, etc., it's like talking to a child who doesn't do anything else other than talk about fucking the Jews and Israel and Zionism.
This is the saddest thing, and this is, I mean, we should remember the Tanya. There's wisdom from the Tanya. I can't quote it exactly, but there's something like, I forget, I can't even begin to quote it, but basically, when we're talking about other people being children, we should try to have patience and compassion when doing this, because I can vividly remember being young and dumb and hateful and arrogant and judgmental, and when I was 24 and I was completely convinced that I knew everything, if I met somebody like John Kitover, I would have just been triggered basically to hell and gone. So if you are John Kitover, you've got to remember that, not everybody's ready for that type of shit.
But I think that's the biggest failing of our university. They're supposed to incite an appetite for learning and realize how little you know and how much knowledge there is out there.
Yes.
Instead, these kids walk on the campus. No, the opposite. They walk on the campus and think they understand everything. They don't know the very basics.
Yes. It's like it's like, it's almost like you become open-minded at 19 or 17 or something. Your mind is opened. And then you latch latch onto the first radical idea that somebody feeds you, and then that's what you believe for the rest of your life. Like, I can remember being open-minded when I was 17, but then I continued to be open-minded, so my mind has changed from when I was 17. But if you just become radical when you're 17, become a Hare Krishna at 17, Haredi at 17, and then you never look back, or whatever it is, you know what I mean? So a lot of people become convinced, and then, I don't know how, I would love if you guys had the patience, or maybe you've been dealing with him for longer than me, but maybe we could bring Cynic back to the
But
stage.
don't you Zach? Don't you eventually get back to the point that it is like a dinner for schmucks? So you might as well film it because what you're doing is participating in a fucking dinner, and this is like a roast. It's a barbecue.
I mean, the only way that you could improve on your endeavor is if you could figure out a way to monetize. I mean, I don't think you're wasting your time. I just think it's unfortunate that your viewership is so small.
Yeah, but even if you have a large viewership, that doesn't mean you monetize. I know people that have huge followings and they can't even monetize. So that's not the point of recording it. What I'm asking is, when you participate in it, isn't everybody technically at the same dinner? But I don't know. It's your choice to sit down at the dinner or not.
No, but that's bad logic. Not everyone that has a big audience can monetize it, but everyone that monetizes it has an audience.
Isn't it funny that Maimonides sounds like my monetize?
Yeah.
I never thought of that.
But isn't it even in the root name Maimon? Isn't that like the root for money or something? Or
I don't know. May or may know. Do you
well,
know?
mana.
I don't know the etymology of money. Let's ask AI.
Maimon. What's the similarities between Maimon and Haman?
Well, look at the word Haman, ha, and then man. Look at the word woe, man. See, this is the
Hugh, man. That's a man with a nice hue.
the hue, right?
Hugh man.
Oh, and look at aura, ah, and ra.
Yes, and look at tree. It's like ta and re.
Look at shut up, shut it up.
Look at cynic. It's like cry and nick and sin. I mean, and look at his PTR. What kind of man wants to project images like that all the time? It's like, well, I'm more morally, virtually, I'm signaling better than you.
Is there any proof? Is this AI?
You just made a weekend.
Good Shabbos.
Or whatever comedy.
Good Shabbos.
Go read a book. Go read a book.
So the etymology of God was the protector, and she had a temple. So she was like warned and advised, and that became French and became English.
So, Cynic, can we talk about this photo? Are you guys bored if we just do classic Israel-Palestine discussion?
Take you seriously though. You got a mask on.
Why? You realize this photo is AI. Are you aware? Or did you think this was actually a photo?
I literally didn't press on it, so.
You can click on the photo and enlarge it.
Well, my friend, to be fair, he sees AI images of Gaza and thinks they're real.
Right, that's my question. Is like, I mean, first of all, is your profile
We have AI, we have programs that can detect.
Do you have like a lag? You might have an internet
See
lag.
here, I don't know, maybe you.
Cynic, do you have a lag on your internet possibly?
You're
No,
it's internal.
something.
You don't know.
Because when I'm talking with Mayor,
Coming from inside the house.
I think Mir is a boomer.
the hell is
Doesn't
Mayor?
know
I
that
thought it
we
was
have
Mayor.
AI detection programs.
Okay, Mayor. Okay, because everybody says it different, but you told me one time.
No.
But anyway, notice
Please
how
don't insult me. I'm not a boomer. I'm from the second generation.
notice how when Mayor and I were
Shouldn't be worried about AI literature, authorship, or image editing.
Oh, I'm not worried.
Because it can all be detected. It can all be
I'm not worried. I'm worried about leaving the world to retards like you. That's my concern.
so Cynic.
I think it's just that it can be detected because maybe at the moment it can detect some things. You cannot detect everything, and the thing is that those machines also learn. This is why CAPTCHA keeps on changing, because the machine also learns how to solve CAPTCHA.
So
I just don't think you know.
I've got a few questions.
This is my business, Cynic, so please touch on grass.
Okay, well,
Can I
you can find me. I already told you. So the challenge again: find me an AI that can mimic
I can give you a site. I can give you a site that will connect. Basically, this site is basically doing. There's a site that you can basically it connects. There's a site basically that connects you to a one-on-one chat. Okay, so you have a conversation, and at the end you need to say it was if it was.
Right, we played that game. I was gonna say that. I was gonna say Daniel played this game.
So you say
like
what was the website?
Yeah, I'll say it. I'll say it.
Caleb, can you give us a super positive Shabbos message?
Good Shabbos. So Daniel did play this game with us one day on Clubhouse. I remember I was in the room. It was a lot of fun. And Daniel was playing 2 clips of 2 voices saying the same thing. And one of them was a real person reading, and the other one was an AI reading the voice, or reading the same sentence, and it was very hard to tell the difference. How did I do, Daniel? Did I tell the story better than you?
It wasn't a story. It's another story. I was talking about the thing, a website that basically you connect to a chat with someone, then you exchange a few sentences. You can say whatever you want to them. They will answer, and then they ask you, okay, did you speak to another person that was on the site or to an AI? And you two say, did you speak? And those AI, they can make like typos, and they can kind of make mistakes, and they can do like even now that when you create like
the Turing test, isn't it? The Turing test.
Okay, you understand, Daniel. There's no such thing. You tell me this is your field. So you understand there's no way to create randomness, right? You can't generate randomness. You know?
It's not randomness. It's not about randomness. You need to understand that a bot doesn't work on logic. It doesn't work on logic. Hold on. It doesn't work on like a logic that someone programmed. A lot of those AI tools that are created, their creators actually don't know exactly what they created, okay? Because at the end, it's
Put me in the queue, please. Put me in the queue.
Language. Do you understand what AI is?
Don't you know Boolean logic? And if you can't get the essays to actually represent automate, you can't optimize or automate randomness.
Language is the technology, and the language is the technology that we humans.
Imagine a jihadist who sacrificed his whole life to waste all these Jews' times. What a sacrifice for the cause. What a sacrifice for the cause.
I understand a human can be tricked, into thinking they're talking to a human being.
We're trying to talk about you getting tricked, cynic.
What Lear was bringing up.
And now you're tricking us by wasting our time.
What Lear was bringing up was pretty much, you have an AI that can go and pull up statistics and data based on the material and literature that's on the internet, on different servers. And first of all, you need the computation power to go through, to shift through the internet and obtain some sort of data or some sort of pool. That would be just
Something like that. Some sort of data. I don't know. I think this is called dinner for schmucks. That's my opinion.
No, it used to be state level. Now it's someone that can anyone do it their home.
Yeah, haven't you heard of Palantir? They're worth like 200 billion now.
It's a shit show.
Zach, let's just create our own room and let these two people who just never stop talking go at it. I think a lot of people use Adderall on this app personally.
This is happening.
Anyways,
So can I
understand it's happening. I understand, but to say
I want to hear Zach. Yeah, I've been trying for a long time. It's hard to not slip back into old Zach, which is.
Can I get into the queue? Can I get into the queue?
Put me in the queue, please. So, Cynic, the thing that I wanted to say is, first of all, are you entirely sure that the profile picture that you have for Clubhouse right now is not AI? Are you sure that it's not AI?
Yeah, it's not AI.
It's from a video that you saw that you think is not an AI generated, because the AI can generate video.
I understand that.
Okay, let's assume.
Detection software.
gotta go back to my life, everybody. What a waste of time this guy Cynic is. Jesus Christ.
Now, see, what we're talking about. You asked a good question. Zach, would you like to restate your question based on the fact that Mikkel might judge you?
No, I'm fine. Okay. I'm okay with being judged. I don't really see that reveals my own character in this question. I'm just asking you, why do you think?
Exactly.
I could try to
Here's where I
answer
think you're a little bit,
for you,
Jimmy.
but I feel like that would be rude.
Let me tell you why we have to take an action.
This is the conversation. Maybe
Here's where I think you.
agree that. Why did these two kids die? All the men around are still alive.
Listen carefully. The next time you feel left out, when your friends all come out there and say,
It took me 10 years to.
I crack myself up.
Assume that men did not die. And it's possible that if you pan the camera over to the left, there are men, grown men, who are suffering in the same way as these kids. That's possible.
I'm just curious. Like, why are they doing CPR with the tips of their fingers? And how did the boy's hand get on top of the people administering CPR?
You don't know why we do CPR with the tips of your fingers when it comes down
According to the Red Cross, the way you do CPR on the child is with the palm of one hand, not two, and never the tips of your fingers. And how did the hand of the child get on top of the man administering CPR? Then people don't typically pick up their hand and put it on top of the guy trying to wake them up.
And why are you doing CPR on somebody? Is he choking?
Why are you assuming that CPR professional?
It's conversations like these that make me want to just be a religious person.
Well, I mean, I think it's not necessarily. I'm not yet convinced that it's a total waste of time. Maybe that is my own naivete. But I think that a lot of people like Cynic. Cynic, can I ask you, and if you don't want to answer because it's upsetting or whatever, can I ask you how old you are? I'm 37. How old are you?
I'm 30.
Oh, okay, cool. So 30 is not young. So, like, we're almost on a peer level. You know, you're not too much younger than me. I'm not, like, older and wiser than you. But I think that there are a lot of people who are 20, 30, 40, 50. You know, there are people on Clubhouse of all ages who are under the same impression that basically we see a video of these kids blown apart. We hear that a school was bombed, and the conclusion is, fuck. Israel is bombing schools. Therefore, Israel is bad. Therefore, obviously, I can deduce that Israel's intention was to harm children. Because if their goal was not to kill kids, then why are they bombing a school? And basically, most people who are, you know, anti-Israel don't take it any further than that. They don't wonder, why was a school bombed? Why were these kids not ushered to a bomb shelter? Why do the schools in Gaza not have bomb shelters in them? It's been 50 years of bombing, so why haven't they built any bomb shelters? It's been 50 years of Israel getting bombed, and now at this point, every school in Israel has a bomb shelter. When they build a new school in Israel, they build bomb shelter. When they build new buildings in Gaza, I mean, they don't even really care about the buildings, but they do build hundreds of miles of access to the bomb-proof shelters that currently exist in Gaza? Why are the kids not ushered into those shelters?
It's pretty dumb.
Do you think that the kids in Gaza go to school right now? Honestly, when you say school, we imagine something that people go to get education, right?
Yeah, they don't go to school.
Now,
What do you
so
want?
when you say, because you're using the word school in order to basically make us
to a refugee center. That's what it is.
Okay, so it's not a school, right? It's a building that was a school. Because when you say school, you obviously mean, maybe not you, but the people that say it, basically we are supposed to think, oh my god, kids go to school, and why would even the IAF target something that kids go to school? But it's not a school, it's a school building. Now, what this building was used for. Now, because obviously, as you said, kids don't go to school in Gaza. So we're talking about the refugee camp in a school?
Why don't you read the article that I posted in the chat? How about that?
Put that link in the chat. If it was a refugee center, my question still stands, which is why were the kids not? Let's say if it was a refugee center.
I already heard you on to read.
You know what I think is funny is like most people don't realize that Cynic. I've recorded Cynic a lot. He literally comes into rooms, dumps his propaganda, and then there's no conversation. So what I don't know, do you guys actually think these people have conversations, or they just do propaganda dumps? Which is like taking a shit at 8 a.m. in the morning. What do you think?
As much experience with this guy as I do.
Stop bitching. Fuck, for a guy who was in the military, man, you bitch a lot.
Here's the problem, Cynic. I mean, I doubt you're going to understand it. But the question to you was, why were the men not injured? And your response was,
Definitely went in enlisted.
I want to read one sentence from the article that the Civic shared. One sentence. And so, like, it says, Gaza's Hamas-run civil defense said multiple bodies, yada yada. So just let's understand. Yes, you gave me a link from the BBC, but they're saying literally in the article that you shared, Gaza's Hamas-run civil defense said. So the Hamas said so, and just believe it. Do you have any evidence?
Yeah. So we don't have the multiple videos from people on the ground where we got all these images from. We don't have that. You really don't. Really. So the media right now. Okay, so we don't have like several videos from multiple angles. Really? You're saying that on your stream now.
Just being curious about what the mayor is trying to say. Exactly. Sorry. Let me go.
Why are these images so like?
Dude, let's just stay on mute. I want to chime in too, but he's doing a good job talking, so we should just listen to him.
Why is it implausible? Why is it implausible?
He's explaining it to you. He's actively explaining it to you.
I mean, I can hear it. Why? I'm not deaf.
We're not going to repeat what we all said, why that image is fake. You then brought up an article, which
No, you're saying. You're making decisive claims coming out of your ass. That's why.
I'm not making any decisive claims. I'm trying to do like a hypothetical. So, if you and I were in Gaza and we were under Israeli occupation and we were freedom fighters or we were at least in support of liberation or whatever, and you and I we were in a school, we're in a refugee center, and I mean, it could be that out of nowhere, kids were playing by the windows of the building and then they got blown apart. I mean, that doesn't really jive with how it works in reality because the school itself was hit. And so, like, why were the kids the ones near the window? Was it just by chance?
Okay, well, at this point, I've judged
based on this conversation. Like, honestly,
I
I think
You're not
think I've judged this conversation and
or you're an idiot is one of the two. And I think you're John's friend, so I'm gonna assume you're an idiot.
Well, I think you're an idiot.
I think I'm an idiot.
All of my forefathers have been Jewish for 1,000 years.
1,000 years.
I'm pretty sure I couldn't be Jewish if I can't communicate the fact that I'm Jewish.
You think your forefathers for 1,000 years have been Jewish?
Yeah, something like that.
I have determined that this conversation is gonna again be a waste of my time.
Anyway, you're a bald-headed man that's hitting 50, dude.
You're bald. Just kill yourself. You're bald. And you know what? You're 50. You're almost 50. You're almost 50. Your life is over. So as a 30-year-old man, are you aware that you will eventually be 50? So at what point do you think people become irrelevant?
Hopefully, by the time I'm pushing 50, I'm sitting here.
Don't you know for a jihadist at 30, he's already a grandfather?
Wasted money on 20 phones, recording.
I think the phones cost like $30 each or something.
Not the ones he's using.
Cynic, the point is, when will you realize that you're just a waste of time and nothing but spam? And nobody should give you any respect because you're pathetic.
Talking about spam, this guy's champion of spam. So he posts all this stuff on YouTube. And if you go to his YouTube channel,
That's a good username and the name for a house. You should have a username that is Spam Champion. And a house that's called Champions of Spam.
Well, I had spam army. I had a spam army at one point.
he's proven my point. But yeah, this guy just posts these videos, and they only get like 5 views, like 6.
You know what's amazing? When I go into one of these free poly rooms and they all freak out for an hour because they know I'm in there and it's anonymous and they can't kick me and they have a panic attack.
So I'd like to talk. I hear you. Joe shows up and he goes up into this frantic mode because he can't say anything. He's recording things. I get it. Okay, I get it. But what do you do? I do get it. I heard exactly what you were saying, even when you were repeating yourself ad nauseum. You don't like John because you think that he's a troll.
I do.
Yeah, what do you do?
Me,
What do you do?
I wholesale.
You wholesale?
Yeah.
And what do you do on Clubhouse? What are you doing here?
I engage in conversations.
Well, John does the same thing as you, and he records them for posterity.
Engaging in a conversation. He's
Actually, no homo, but he's probably the smartest man, one of the smartest men, because I'm in the presence of another smart man, and Mayor left. But Daniel is very smart. I love Daniel. Daniel, I love you. But John is... Huh?
Let him prove his case.
What is his case?
He can't engage in discourse.
Of course he is. He's been engaging in discourse all morning.
When?
John, say something.
Okay, dude, if he can show me a video where he engages in a serious conversation, a debate with an opposition, and he is clarifying points and substantiating them, and even maybe sourcing up, I'll concede. One video.
Listen, schmuck, I'm fully transparent. I record my opinions. I record you and your stupid opinions, and I let the audience determine who's the schmuck. And I think most people don't think I'm the schmuck. They think you're the schmuck.
No, you were interrupting and trolling and being a rude. What am I interrupting? You're being a bratty little kid. That's why I thought you were longer than 30.
In a discourse. Go ahead, do it right now.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's engage in a discourse.
I checked the date. Are you aware that from this it was in Bethlehem, and on that day I see that they launched rockets from that place to Israel. Now this former attack launcher.
The source that says there was a rocket launch from Bethlehem.
Find me the source. Put the link in the chat.
Hold on. The way that it goes, that when a rocket flies from Gaza, can you mute up?
firing rockets at Israel. And that happened. So I'm wondering if you are okay with this.
He just told you the source, dumbass.
Give me the source.
The source is the app, the sirens. The sirens.
Open the red alert app.
You don't know where they are.
Put the link in the chat.
I can also give you a source from the IDF source if you would like, but you choose your own.
Show me an IDF source. Show me.
That's a stupid thing to say. You're revealing your own ignorance. You are revealing your own ignorance. You are revealing your own ignorance when you say that the rocket could not be coming from Yemen. You are revealing your own ignorance. I know that nobody can hear you because I've got the microphone down my throat and I can't hear your voice. I don't know why you continue to speak. It's like Jazzy the black woman. It's black. Well, I think you're a retard. I think you're a retard. And you know what? I think the Palestinians are even more retarded than you. And that's why their brains are being spilled out on the sidewalk. That's why the boys in your photo are dying because their parents are twice as retarded as you. And you probably have a level 95 IQ, which is very low, okay? I have a level 130 IQ, and I'm much smarter than you. The people in Gaza have a level 70 IQ, which is about on the level of a fucking chimpanzee, okay? So the reason why the poor innocent boys shut the fuck up, dude. This is black woman behavior. I'm gonna take the earphone out of my ear. I'm gonna keep going. Now I can't hear a word you say. I can focus on what I'm saying. All I hear is that little gray circle. I'm looking at your stupid photo and I'm seeing the gray circle light up, and all I'm seeing is that you're talking nonsense. You're behaving like a low IQ moron. And if we were engaging in conversation right now, it would turn into fisticuffs. And if you wanted to engage in fisticuffs, then it would turn into war. And since my side of the team has access to planes and bombs, we would bomb your family into smithereens. And that's why the Palestinians are being bombed into smithereens. That's why the children are dying, because their parents are engaging in war and propping them up. So when the bombs come, their bodies get blown apart, and a moron like you is convinced. I cannot believe that you are continuing to talk right now because nobody is listening to you. Not me, not Daniel. I see Daniel trying, but Daniel, you're gonna have to hit the mute all button to get me to stop. I'm gonna keep going until Cynic mutes up. I'm not listening to anything.
Including you, I muted you, so I put the link in the chat. About an article that says that the IDF has destroyed the rocket launcher that launched rockets into Israel in the north of Gaza Strip. So I'm asking you again, as long as Hamas is firing rockets at Israel,
I can't read this.
expect Hebrew. Google Translate is free, just so you know. Okay? You can hit on that like possible. Even if you're using Chrome, you can also have like translate. It's built in for exactly for people like you. But anyway, you will not find a lot of information. But I'm trying to understand.
So this is 4 days ago.
Oh my God.
You know the dates. Just read the article. Read your article. Look at the dates.
Just punch him in the face. Punch in the face.
Your whole point.
Punch in the face. Airstrike the village. Airstrike the village. Airstrike the village.
Keep trying, bro.
Man, I gotta go repair like 5 laptops today and talk, and I'm giving you guys so much great insight and analysis, but I gotta go back and repair all these laptops. So have a good day, everybody, and God bless you all, and take care. And I hope you stop killing all the children in the Gaza.
The sources that you give literally says that their source is the Hamas one ministry of whatever. Okay, that is the source of information that you have.
I don't speak Hebrew. I can't translate your links. I'm here just to waste your time and to waste my body and my brain wasting your time. I'm a true jihadist. He's gonna waste you, Daniel. He's gonna suck all your time away.
You need to take a cue, okay? So when I mute you, it's me asking you politely to shut the fuck up. Okay, so just do it, okay?
You shut the fuck up. Here's the dates, motherfucker.
airstrike his whole village. Airstrike his village. Send the strike. Yeah, I'm sure we would. I'm sure we would. Yeah, we would. Push the button. Push the button.
So anyway, when Hamas is still firing rockets indiscriminately at Israel, yes, we need to stop those rockets. When Hamas is firing rockets from within humanitarian zones and from hospitals or schools, unfortunately, and I'm completely sincere, people might die. The problem that you should have, if you really care about those children, which I doubt it, you should call out the crimes that Hamas is doing. Not call out Israel for defending itself. That is your moral corruption.
You are a lying. You are a low IQ. You're a stupid little bitch. I just called you low IQ, and now you're calling him low IQ. You don't even have original insults. You're a stupid little kid, and you would get your ass kicked if you tried to do this in the real world because you have no manners. If you try to interact with adults like this in the real world, you get your ass beat. If you tried to have this conversation with us around the table, one of us would be shouting at this point. You're a stupid little bitch, and you would get your ass kicked. And that's why the Palestinians are being bombed. Probably not. Actually, probably what would happen is we would airstrike your whole village, and then your brains would go on the sidewalk.
How about you post a real picture of yourself? How about that?
Okay, sure, I will. I'll post a picture of myself. Are you going to post a picture of yourself? I'll post a picture of myself with my shirt off. I'll post a picture of myself. I'll post a picture of my dick. I'll post a picture of my dick right now.
Cynic, you are the coward hiding behind pictures of dead children, not us, dude. You wanna talk to us about the picture? Put your fucking
Daniel, post your dick right now. Daniel, post your dick.
You gotta understand, all projection is just communication spam, and Cynic is nothing but a spammer. That's my original thesis. He's nothing but a spam human. Could you imagine going out on a date with Cynic and he's like mumbling over a cocktail? A fucking free Palestine of dead babies. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking about Clubhouse, baby.
I called you a bitch, now you call him a bitch. I call you a low IQ, now you call him low IQ.
Do you know how many laptops you gotta repair to pay your rent, to spend time here, to talk to us, to waste all your time all day long, 40 hours, 80 hours a week, talking about free Palestine? Morning, crying, baby, dad, baby.
Was consistently proven that you're incapable of engaging in respectful discourse.
Palestinian tactics to always blame you what they are guilty of. Every pro-Palestinian Nazi accusation is an admission of guilt. Literally. The same as he was talking about your PTR. He doesn't have a photo, but he's blaming you. This is like their tactic. It's like he's always blaming them.
High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation.
Oh my God.
So I draw my subscribers' profile pictures.
Somebody's watching me.
How to get $48,000.
Anyway,
I'm becoming convinced. I think that John is correct.
I'm correct. This is like dinner for schmucks. It's a roast. I mean, it's just a spam barbecue party.
Roast. So this is the thing. I mean, this is when I start to. Now I'm turning my attention on Daniel. Now I'm mad at you, Daniel. Because what are you doing, Daniel? You're pulling me into the mud with you to roll around with me. Daniel, you bastard.
Yeah!
No, I actually removed it a few times, but I just
scour the internet to find something to
Cynic, what we're trying to say is, like, you got shit all over your face, dude. You got shit on your hands. You got shit on your shoes, Cynic.
Wait, Cynic, shut up. I want to say something to Daniel. Daniel, I know that you speak very good English, but Hebrew is your first language, yes? I mean, yours second. Hebrew is your first language, yeah. Do you know this English expression? I don't know if they say it in Hebrew, but it's something like this. It's basically, never argue with a pig. Have you heard this? Never argue with a pig.
That's literally not the same.
No, it is, and I haven't completed it. Basically, Daniel, never argue with a pig. Never wrestle with a pig, because the pig will drag you down.
Argue with an idiot.
No, it's not. It's pig, because it's like this.
Show me.
Because never wrestle with a pig, Daniel, because you'll end up covered in shit. And besides, the pig likes it.
You can never wrestle with a pig.
You're the big.
I said it in a funny way.
So, Cynic, what we're trying to say is when you fix those laptops today to pay for all your time here on Clown House, I hope you don't return those laptops with shit all over the laptop screen.
So you're dying because I'm like, I got a job and you don't.
Oh, you got a job preparing laptops and on Clown House 80 hours a week? I didn't know you have a job. This is impressive work. You got great work ethic. Free Palestine.
I teach fat lesbians how to identify edible plants.
I don't even get 2-digit viewers.
I posted a video the other day that got 3,000 views.
That's great. We'll see, Cynic, what we just, I mean, my friend, can you maybe tell us the joke about what it's like talking with a pig and getting shit on yourself and realizing the pig likes the shit?
Wrestle with a pig because they pull you down to your level.
I gotta go take a shower, you guys. I got shit all over me.
I think that if you think it's fun trolling other people, that's the
Oh, hi, Mind Virus. Did you get off the train yet? Did you safely get to your destination in your perfume factory? I want you to make me a special clubhouse residue that smells like shit. Because you're a pig. And you're just a pig, Mind Virus. I don't know, I thought I had more there at the end, but... I hope you got to your destination, Mind Virus. Poodle. I didn't know that was your other name. Man, Zach, you got shit on your face. Zach, you got shit all over your hands. Ew, Zach, there's shit on your shoes. Get off of my carpet, quick.
Can't even make a point. Can't even discuss a point objectively. Haven't contributed to
I was trying to discuss.
AI.
I was trying to very calmly. Notice how I changed my tone. I came down to earth, and what you said. I never made a point. I haven't done anything.
Ew, Zach, you smell again. You got shit on your shoes.
So, Asa, we got to the point where Cynic blames us that we cannot have an honest conversation, okay? This is the album.
Esau already knows.
We've come full circle in the cycle of spam.
Daniel, we engaged in conversation before. You believe in conspiracies, and you believe the whole world.
You're projecting Hannibal directive alert. Dead babies, dead babies, dead babies. What a waste of time you are, Cynic. I couldn't imagine you going on a date and a woman even finding you entertaining or interesting in the slightest. I repair laptops and I cover people with shit on social audio chat apps 80 hours a week.
This is what you do? You repair laptops?
At least I got a job repairing laptops and spreading shit in social media fields. Hate speech and propaganda as far as the eye can see.
I will eat shit if you can provide a video where you're
You would eat shit?
objective discussion. You're having an objective discussion.
Subjectively.
It's very hard to have an objective discussion with somebody like you.
Find me a video.
But he has engaged in an objective discussion with you this morning.
Forget about me. I'm trying.
He's a purist. The guy's a saint.
Understand the point.
Capable of having
No, he's not.
discussion.
I've had objective discussion for hours. Daniel, if I call Cynic a dumb faggot, is that offensive to you as a gay man?
Yes, you assume that he's part of us, okay? That is right. I don't want to be associated.
Right, there's no faggot on earth who's as dumb as this motherfucker.
Well, unfortunately there are, like, so Palestine.
At least he speaks English.
Fucking retarded.
superior 30-year-old.
Penis. Cynic, you have a big penis. Now do me. Now do me. Now do me.
I'm willing to estimate that Cynic is actually a sociopath. Now, I'm not projecting that I'm a sociopath. I mean, Issa, how did you feel when Cynic told you that he was gonna pound you in your ass or something earlier? It was disgusting.
Can we send these people to the same crazy center that Nora went? The three of them. Can we send them to Bellevue Clinic?
He thinks Kabbalah's a book. Well, I just want to say good Shabbos, everybody. May peace come upon all your faces.
Maybe they will give us group discounts. I mean, because...
May peace come unto all of you. Good Shabbos, Rabboinai Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Trying to engage calmly and respectfully. I just want to say this really briefly while I have the moment. If you interrupt other people every time they talk, I'm going to not ramble so you don't tempt to interrupt me. But if we can't let each other complete our thought, then none of us can engage in a serious discussion. So you're saying John can't engage in a serious discussion, but in my experience, you're also interrupting me, and you're not engaging seriously with me. That's my
The
point.
three of you are the same.
Because we're not having a discussion. There's not a serious point that's being discussed.
I was trying to way communication. I was trying to guys, Lisa, don't let me in with these two chuckleheads because I have been trying for the past 20 minutes to talk with Cynic about his profile picture, his PTR picture, and try to logically examine why kids in Palestine are dying. And I didn't even get to make my conclusion. But Cynic, maybe I'll go ahead and make my point, and then you can argue against me if you want to. But my understanding is basically that people in Gaza, Hamas, the other terrorist organizations, people who are committed to killing Jews, committed to fighting Israel, not every single Palestinian, because I'm not going to say every single Palestinian is a murderous terrorist. I'm still leaving the door open for there to be innocent civilians in Palestine who deserve protection. But I think that the people in Palestine who are committed to war, they like to maximize the deaths of their own civilians, which sounds like a crazy thing to say. Like, why would anybody want to maximize, like, if you're a man, why would you want your child to be killed in an airstrike? That seems crazy. But let me finish really quick. I'm almost done. I'm not rambling, okay? As I understand it, Daniel can correct me, or you can correct me if you want to. But as I understand it, there are two main reasons why Palestinians like to maximize civilian deaths. The number one reason is that, first of all, they believe that anybody who dies while engaged in war against a Jew or an infidel or whatever will be rewarded in heaven. So they believe that it's very sad when people die on earth, but it's kind of okay because they will be rewarded in heaven. That's the first reason why it's okay for civilians to die. But the second reason, why would they actually want to maximize civilian deaths? Not only do they believe that they'll be rewarded in the afterlife, but they want to maximize civilian deaths.
Okay, so now that this chimp is done, trying to defend his ego for whatever fucking reason.
So stole it from me.
Theater, music, news, live streaming, clown house rooms on YouTube. That does not meet the requirements. Yet the world only moves by the light of genius. The herd will be destroyed in mass. The establishment of the law of anonymous here on Clown House is the only way to preserve individual liberty and to assure the future of the Clown House human race. In the words of the famous paradox of the Comte de Phoenix, the absolute rule of the Clown House state shall be a function of the absolute liberty of each individual Clown House will. All members of Clown House, all men and women are invited to cooperate with John in this great Clown House spam. I am complete.
Love is the law. Love
I got
the
one.
will.
I got one. Oh, we're doing Crowley.
Anyone or you are wishing for children to die just so that you can make a point. But even though you don't want the children and the women to die, you are going to exploit the opportunity to show what is happening so that it serves your own political purpose. And that it serves your own political purpose, which is not necessarily linked to the welfare or to the well-being of these kids and these women, but pushing your political point of like getting the Jews out of the Middle East. So that is what is morally reprehensible.
It's even worse because what they're doing is basically when there's like a dead child, okay, and the pro-Palestinians are like doing like stuff like cynic, and cynic is not the only one. You will see it spreading all over Twitter. Basically, they're basically incentivizing Hamas to sacrifice children because they see that Hamas sees that every time a child dies, immediately the entire world is like in outrage, and all those pro-Palis like use those to attack Israel. So cynic is part of the problem, and he's part of those that incentivize Hamas to sacrifice children. So cynic, I will end with this: the blood on those children is on your hand. Go and wash your hands.
Well, he's got shit all over his hands, all over his shoes. He's got shit on his shirt. He's got shit on his face.
I wasn't saying it as a trigger thing. I actually believe that when they actually incentivize Hamas to do this. It's good for the cause. Let's be honest. A dead child, bad for Israel, good for Palestine. Until you will stop behaving immorally in a wicked way.
Well, yeah, I'd like to at some point, Daniel,
when you exploit children, you are incentivizing Hamas.
Yeah, I want to hear his response.
You see what just happened? You see, my friend, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt because this is our first interaction, so there's still time for you to redeem yourself. Now, you saw what just happened. You made your points, even though I think they're very silly. But nevertheless, someone came, Daniel jumped up, he wanted to follow up on that because he doesn't view what you said was efficient enough. And then
I had my own opinions and just topics in it.
He didn't believe you guys articulated the point fine enough. And then Daniel went back, and then Daniel muted him, and then he went back again. And this guy, like, that's
can you address the point?
You can address the point. This is
Yes,
what
and
you're
it
doing
could
at
make
this
another
stage.
point.
You make a single point.
I actually challenge this point because I think that it's not fair to even make a claim that you're wishing for these people to die. But I'm saying that you are capitalizing on it. But go ahead.
How does he capitalize? The guy repairs laptops and slings shit all over everywhere he goes.
And I haven't interacted with my friend, so
I'm waiting patiently.
The benefit of the doubt. So.
Oh, this is a new interaction.
Oh my God!
So you can't help himself. Do you run, my friend? Do you like hit a treadmill? Do you run?
Yeah, a little bit.
What's the longest distance you ran?
The longest distance that I have ever run in my life in one continuous stretch is probably like 8 miles.
How long did it take you?
It took me, it was a while ago, but it probably, I don't know. I mean,
I agree, this is very funny.
The time I would probably say like an 11 or 12 minute mile times 8. Now I run a little bit.
From the bed to
so you would say you run a mile 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 10 minutes.
Nowadays, if I'm running 1 mile, I can run probably 8 minutes. But
Is this a workout room now? This is a big non sequitur. What are you doing, Cynic?
I'm just humoring him, so I'm just answering the questions in good faith.
You know the length of Gaza?
It's I know that it's like 140 square miles. I think it's like 25 miles high or 30 or something.
That's like a marathon length.
So
I can look it up. It's 140 square miles.
Wait, isn't Gaza Palestine? So doesn't it technically go all the way up to Lebanon?
Take you 3 hours to run.
It's 25 miles long, so I was right.
Well, it's half a marathon, not even a full
I'm
marathon.
not challenging you on your. You're right.
Yeah, I was right. It's 25 miles, so it wouldn't take me long to run. I
No,
could run
it's
a
one
marathon.
marathon, man.
Well, you won. You're right. Okay, cool. So it would take you around 3 hours, if my math isn't failing me. So 3 hours would pretty much take you to run from north to south. Now,
It's a great run. 8 miles, 8-minute miles.
like 5
Damn.
miles, it would take you like maybe an hour.
Right.
From the longest distance, maybe 2 hours.
So we can agree that Gaza is not very big.
It's very small.
We can agree. It's very
Now
small.
imagine
Very condensed. It's a tight package.
Well, there are something like, I think there's something like 8 million people living in Manhattan, and it's about the same size, so.
Yeah, but Manhattan has a very high standard of life, and you have infrastructure, and you have.
It's not an open air prison. They're dead babies.
Manhattan doesn't spend the money building tunnels for terrorists.
So you have high rises and max.
What is your point, though?
It's high. Is he drinking and smoke? Like, what's he talking about?
Understanding of the situation.
I already understand how big Gaza is, and I understand that the people who live there are struggling. I understand all of that. I knew that when you were still in. I knew that 20 years ago.
I let you talk.
I know. I'm just making.
We let you ramble and moan, cynic.
Okay, even if you know, I want to highlight the point. Is that
About the density and the distance? What is this, like a math course? What's your point?
Yeah, if you shut the fuck up, I could highlight the point.
Didn't you call me a kike yesterday, cynic?
Again, the majority of these people are refugees. The conditions of these refugee camps. I've lived in Gaza, by the way.
You lived in Gaza?
But
When did you live in Gaza?
through the second Intifada.
Oh my gosh, he's an Intifada survivor.
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
He's a survivor.
Your parents were able to move away.
The majority of these people are living in refugee camps. And a lot of these.
Can you post a link in the chat to your survivorship from the Intifada? Because I don't believe you.
Hold on, I'm gonna have to make a claim here from the line of refugee camps. For people that just like to hear the word refugee and also tears go out of their eyes, refugee in Gaza is not the same as refugee in other countries. Refugees in the case of Palestinians in Gaza are referred to all of the Palestinians, and it's a special different status that the UN has given to these people that were quote unquote displaced from their houses. And this is the only instance.
She's answering that question now.
I'm gonna move all of you to the So, yeah, but I need to make this asterisk because you're using the word refugee to appeal to people's emotions. So, refugee in the case of Gaza is the only instance. Refugee in the case of Gaza is the only instance in which the status can go from the father to the son and all the descendants. It's the only time.
You and all your Palestinian cousins deserve it.
It is the only time in international or whatever that these status can be inherited from generation to generation, which is never the case with the actual refugees when we're talking about globally. In Gaza, it's a different term from refugee, and whoever doesn't know about this, ask ChatGPT and you will see the difference. So it's not that they're living in camps; they're just called refugee neighborhoods because it's made of this status that they invented. Even millionaires, okay, you're gonna go down as well. Even refugees that are millionaires be able to respond when people are done with what they're
Yeah,
speaking.
and if you could put me in the queue, guys, I'd like to also respond. Do we have a queue?
I don't know. So you dropped us down for interrupting, but this clown has been interrupting us. No one dropped him down.
And I'm gonna move him if he continues like that.
When the fuck
Abby! Oh yeah, this is so much fun. It's like torturing somebody or playing with a cat, basically.
Okay, it's crazy. I would accept this argument.
Are you
can
Zach?
have a whole fucking Zach called Zionism that establishes itself.
Zach, is that you speaking? I'm not near my phone.
Zach, are you there?
Hello? Hello? Hello?
But in the light of fucking kikes that are believing that they are 2,000-year-old descendants of Middle Easterners, and they believe they're refugees, and they have the right to come back to their homeland, and you're here dismissing Palestinians who are 75 years in, who are refugees, who have been kicked out of their home, and we have this...
Did she say something wrong? Did she say something wrong?
And the United States and the UN...
Did she say something?
She did. I said you're a fucking kike.
What did she say was wrong?
She said that faggot kike, not even
She said that all the Palestinians
you just fucking double whammy worse.
Hold on.
She said that the
I said
definition
what?
of a Palestinian refugee is different than any other refugee in the world.
Let me explain.
And that is-
you went wrong. So
Y'all want to crash out, I've given you one.
she said basically that the Palestinians who are living in Gaza are all refugees.
What do
and
you
that they all live
think?
in refugee towns or neighborhoods.
No, that's not what I said.
But
You have very little
the
comprehension
reality,
skills.
wait 1 second. The reality is that the Palestinians in Gaza living in refugee camps are Palestinians from what you call Israel today, who in 1948 got pushed out into Gaza and still have technically under the UN a right of return, and they will be refugees and they're
No, that's not true.
Wait,
That's not true, dude. You're making stuff up.
I'm not making stuff up. Just a second.
They don't have a right. They don't have a right to return.
I didn't interrupt you. Do you get kicked down when you interrupt, or is this like Jews?
No.
But they don't know how to have a proper discourse.
Gotcha.
I will move him down because I don't have energy for those things.
Okay, I'll tell you the difference between. There are two
Y'all a
definitions.
joke.
One under UNRWA, which is about the Palestinian refugees, and the other one under the UNHCR, which is the global refugees. So
I already told
under
you.
UNRWA, hold on. The global definition of refugee
She's just gonna repeat
is
it.
a
Well,
refugee
yes,
is
because
someone
nobody
who has
listened to
fled
her
their
the first time.
country. A refugee is someone who has fled their country to a
She moved you down even you see you were the same.
A refugee is someone who has fled their country due to a well-founded fear or of persecution based on race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group or political opinion, and it's unable or unwilling to return. That is a normal global refugee. Now, a Palestinian refugee under UNRWA means something different. It defines Palestine refugees as individuals whose normal place of residence was Palestine between the 1st of June of 1946 and 1948. And who lost both their homes and means of livelihood as a result of the 1948 conflict. This definition also extends to the descendants of Palestinian refugees, including legally adopted children. So it is a very different status, and the Palestinian refugee status will be valid until they quote-unquote come back home, meaning to like the territories that they're claiming from Israel. So it's very different than the global refugees.
I think even if you look at Myanmar and all these people are
Yeah, I just want to interrupt you, Senek, and say that I've reported you for calling me a faggot kike. I'm complaint.
brought up on stage. Like, I don't understand. Like, again, forget about all that. we can argue these definitions, no problem. But again, you're dealing with a state that, justifies itself based on being refugees from 2,000 years ago.
We are not refugees, though.
Back to their homeland. And not only that, but granting a right of return to anybody.
We're talking about Gaza. My God, can't you talk about the topic? My God.
Even though they might be
We are not refugees,
that's what you're dealing with. There's a double standard.
No,
you're telling
the double standard.
You're telling me, a third-generation refugee, you're telling me at this point that I am not allowed back to my city. Meanwhile, this guy, who is pretty much
Dude, that is not your city
is
anymore.
practically a European, you're telling me he has the right to return and take
There is
over
no
my
such
home.
thing as a third
You're telling me he
generation.
has a right to take over my home.
There is no right of return. But no one is taking your home. My God.
You're telling. Shut up. Let me finish.
What she said is the definition of Palestinian refugees is different to any other ones. That is the point.
Please, someone kick this guy in. Oh my god, he doesn't stop speaking.
There is no such thing as a third generation refugee.
25 by 5. And you're telling me this guy who is a European.
She didn't talk about me, Cynic. She didn't talk about me. No, she didn't talk about me. No, she said that Palestinian refugees have a different definition to any other refugee in the world. This is what she said. And that is true, because any other refugee...
You think these refugees that left Myanmar, the Rohingya, you don't think the status, even of their children, is going to be refugees? They're going to be categorized
No,
as refugees.
exactly. They do not. You can go...
to be stateless. They don't have statehood, and hence they would be considered refugees, and the status is going to be an...
Hi everybody, I just want to interrupt and say, Honey Badger, can you please create a roast room every once in a while? I mean, I think your lack of organization on this app is resulting in a lot of missed lols, so I would appreciate it if you could please create a roast room soon. Thank you, Dr. Honey Badger. Please continue.
Jose, if you could go to Bukhari, or we call it Bukaki, 5134. Please, would you read it for us?
Bukkake? Isn't that like a pornographic term where a lot of men ejaculate on a woman's face? I said ejaculate.
You having trouble there, Jose? You want some help?
Hello?
67, Hadith 70. Jose, are you alright?
Hello? I'm just looking at Lookup's PTR there, that poop coming out of a sledge, back of a car or a truck. That was a lot of poop, Lookup. Is all communication just spam? Or is it political?
It's both.
But
Jose, would you care to grace us with your very presence and tell us all about this Sahih al-Bukhari 5134? If we could hear you read it to us and endorse it, give it a rubber stamp, a gold star, and big
Guys, I would say this Jaws is a big liar. I just saw his friends. A lot of Indians here. For sure, he's an Indian or a Pakistani, and he's already in an Islamic country. And I think he is just afraid to talk the truth here. Or basically, Joe's, nobody is here recording anything. Just feel to say
no, that's not true. I'm live streaming the room on 15,000 viewers right now on YouTube. I can come back with my anonymous account.
Who cares?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I ruin the party?
You scared him off. Hey,
Well, can somebody pass me some coleslaw and some barbecue chicken, please?
look at the title of the room. It's that simple.
I think
Wow.
yeah, without a state. Maybe there's some part of some tribe in Africa that not represented by the government of that nation, right? I don't really understand the tribal identities or whatever.
I don't think you can name
But wait, let me just land here. Their parents come as refugees to America. The children are born in America. The children who are born in America become American citizens. Now, Donald Trump is trying to like change some parts of that, but for a long time, and in many other countries,
Did you just get kicked out?
No, I'm done. I'm going into creator mode. I've been setting up some phones here.
What are you talking about? It's my go.
We got a queue?
It was my go.
They're both going back and forth.
You ain't hear them say, "Oh, I'm gonna go after you, baby."
Yeah.
Like,
Go ahead. I didn't hear nothing. Go right ahead, thank you.
I'll take the disrespect because you can't help it.
Oh, you think you can control his schedule and just like text him?
No,
Or...
I'm asking. I'm not saying like. Okay, I said it a little bit right there, but I meant like I will ask because he needs to collect his money.
You're so pathetic. Get a new joke.
It's not a joke.
Oh, okay. It's an update to the joke I see.
Remain refugees, for the rest of their lives.
Okay, until the conditions that you just mentioned, they become citizens or they're repatriated somewhere. Until that happens, they are going to be refugees.
Right, but why aren't they, for example, why aren't they becoming citizens of Jordan?
The thing is that with a
Because
Palestinian,
Jordan is a sovereign state,
the
and
thing
they
is
don't
that
have
with
to
a
accept
Palestinian,
refugees.
even if they're, for example, like you, Cynic, you're Palestinian, right? You were born in the UN.
They kicked me. Wow.
Can you go in with the anonymous thing? Like even when you get kicked? I'm just asking in general.
Yeah. Okay, I'm ending this X Spaces.
Alright, bye.
No, not this one. The other one.
Oh, okay.
I was live streaming myself on X. Now we're going into ghost mode. Here we go.
I love it.
Can't stop me.
This is perfect.
This is what's happening basically. Oh wow.
Oh no, this
are
is
basically paying and trying to fund and weaponize and arm these certain groups that are against Hamas and basically trying to create division, right? They want to divide and conquer. So this is how you do it. You find a group of Palestinians, maybe a big clan, maybe a gang, a mafia. You give them
I
weapons.
can't get back in that room.
Arms, you give them
Maybe I
food,
can.
and then you train them, and then you tell them where to go, who to, attack, and that creates a power struggle, right? So now you're fighting a war, and you have a power struggle, and you're trying to, figure out who's an enemy, who's a friend, and these are basically armed people that look just like them.
Yeah, but apparently this guy, the leader of this gang, was previously head of ISIS in Gaza.
I heard allegations about that from pretty reliable
You
interrupt me, actually.
Maybe actually with people like you that are intelligent, because I do think you're intelligent, and I'm not being sarcastic right now.
I'm more
But maybe with more people like you, Gaza would be a better place because it
I think more people want to chime in.
would be more efficient.
I think one can't be a better
Oh my
place
God!
because Gaza is a
It could
concentration
actually
camp,
have
25 by
some
5.
industry.
So that's why
It could
Gaza
have
can't
people
be a
that are
better
not too
place.
resentful.
Too many fucking people there.
Guys, let's move the mic around. I think Khaled wants, and the Egyptian want to talk, and Taylor want to.
I'd like to.
Actually, I need to ask Isa a question.
Not yet, Caleb.
Oh, I mean, sure, let him. He's right. Let him.
So I think to the point of the different status of refugees, there are legal definitions of these things, and I think, Cynic, you're using a little bit more popular colloquial understanding that is not related to the legal definitions of refugees.
I didn't dispute the legal definition.
I wasn't finished speaking. The other thing is, the law of return and the ability of Jews to return to Israel has nothing to do with refugee status, but it has everything to do with the legitimate fear of not having protections of the host countries in which they live in. It has nothing to do with refugees. And by the way, if you want to talk about refugees, the people who built the state were refugees from Europe and from the Arab world. Those are legitimate refugees, but after one generation of having built the country, they're not refugees anymore. It's the interesting thing about UNRWA and the kind of like motivations between UNRWA, this is my own commentary and analysis, right, is that the reason to keep Palestinians as permanent refugees is to hold out the idea not only that they can return, but that Israel will cease to exist, right? I think UNRWA, this idea of permanent refugee status is a deliberate attempt to hold out hope that Israel will cease to exist under some demographic weight.
Okay, well, again, the reason there was an ethnic cleansing to begin with was to artificially create this Jewish majority demographic to begin with. Now, these people that were kicked out of their homes, they need to be dealt with, and they are in limbo. They are stateless, and they are placed in a concentration camp, and they are not afforded rights as citizens of a state. It's practically impossible for a Palestinian to travel for the most part. So Palestinian passport is worth its weight in paper, pretty much. That's it. So this is the problem.
Palestinians that are in Gaza
under a siege. They are
under the Palestinians in Gaza
and
the Palestinians in Gaza.
These stateless people
got it.
have been kicked
So
out
the
of their
Palestinians in Gaza,
man. Are you being serious?
Can you change your PTR, Cynic? It's very upsetting and disgusting.
So Palestinians on Palestinian land in Gaza under Palestinian government, why are they refugees?
I am pretty damn sure I didn't talk long.
So you're wrong.
Now he's just gonna say, "Don't interrupt me," and I didn't talk over you. That's all he's ever gonna say
Oh
now.
my God! Oh shut. So Palestinians in Gaza under Palestinian. I want to understand from you. For example, explain to me what I'm missing. Okay? Palestinians in Gaza. Okay? That is Gaza is a Palestinian land under Palestinian government. Why are they considered refugees? Can you explain to me?
Why? Because they've been kicked out of their homes, and they
So
are
what?
living in a concentration camp, and they aren't afforded the basic rights of
That is not a definition.
Cynic is an infantada survivor.
John, stop it, John. No, but I want to understand from you. Okay? They have Palestinian.
Cynic is an infantada survivor.
They have a Palestinian government. They are on Palestinian land. Why are they refugees?
Because we don't have a state. And again, I am kicked out of my home, and I have the right to go back to the property that was stolen.
You still gotta pay the property
So
taxes.
the people in Gaza, John, stop it. So Gaza is not Palestinian land.
It's a livable place. It's a concentration camp.
That's not the definition. My God. Why is there a refugee camp in Gaza if those are Palestinian, on Palestinian land, under Palestinian government? Why are there refugees?
First of all, there is no government. You have a body that
Yes,
Palestinians elected in 2005, and at that point we haven't had another election. And
They have a government.
It is just a governing
It's
body.
like Venezuela. Venezuela selected their dictators.
Actually
But they elected
government.
them.
There are no
It's corrupt.
the government.
Listen, Gaza is not Israel, right? It's a Palestinian land.
Just
Of course it's relevant. The entire concept of refugees is about being not on your land. But if you're on your land, how come you are a refugee?
You can't help yourself, can you?
Just answer my question.
Now, so if the Rohingya
My God.
go create a governing body over the refugees in Bangladesh right now, you think that's it? Their refugee status ends?
I'm asking you a question.
I'm asking you a question.
So I will answer you afterward. The Palestinians in Gaza.
You don't like my
The Palestinians. So I didn't get it. So the Palestinians in Gaza that are on
to help you.
the Palestinians. Oh my God, Jesus! You don't shut up. You literally don't shut up.
No, he just keeps talking. He never shuts
Oh
up.
my God, John, shut up! The Palestinians in Gaza. I will just repeat until you let me finish my question, and then hopefully you will be able to answer.
Right, Abby? Sucking
I
hilarious.
will ask the question because you keep on interrupting me. Can you let me finish my question once?
He never shuts up. He just keeps talking.
John, shut up.
I answered. You don't like me.
So maybe I didn't understand it. I will ask it again, and then you will answer, okay? And we will not fight over the microphone. You will let me finish the question, and then I will let you finish the answer, okay? That is acceptable? Great. So my question, great. I want to know Palestinians in Gaza that are Gaza
Gaza is a Palestinian land. They live on a Palestinian land under a Palestinian governance, okay? Why are they considered refugees if they are controlling their own, and they are on their land, and they have their own leadership, and they are not part of Israel? Thank you.
Because they are not from Gaza. They are from Palestine. They are from the cities that the majority of Israelis occupy, and they are living in their homes. So that's why they're refugees, and they don't have status. They are not considered citizens of Gaza.
They're living in their homes. Are they communists?
Distinctions. You don't know these distinctions, but within Gazan society, there are categories. There is refugee and citizen, and the people in Gaza who are citizens, this is their land, and this is their territory, and you will see this discrepancy between like an actual citizen of Gaza and a refugee. We're not, we're different, and to them this is
We're different.
Yes, we're both Palestinian, but nevertheless it's theirs. So they see, they want us also to go back to where we came from as well. So that's internally to Gaza. But just like...
What year are they going to go back to? 65? 1855?
Shut the fuck up. Now, if you go...
Wait, you're talking about a time machine, right?
You're such a fucking clown. You will kill yourself. I'm pretty sure. You will get to that point where you will fucking end it. I know the type you are, John.
Uh-oh, you're breaking down. You're cracking. Don't project, cynic.
I know you do it. You're borderline.
You're projecting.
You're an insane person. I can tell.
We got you to the cliff, cynic. Are you going to jump? What are you going to do?
If they establish themselves as it's not refugee status. It's not going to eliminate the refugee status. They're still refugees. Even if they establish a governing body, it doesn't matter. So it's as simple as that. And again, the hypocrisy, like, you are claiming that you have a right to return to this land and establish a Jewish state at the cost of the predominant population in the land because of some notion that you were unjustly kicked out of this land, even though that is historically false. So that whole narrative is bullshit. So, if it's okay for you to come and justify ethnic cleansing and establishing an ethno-supremacy state, which is the same what the Nazis were attempting to do.
Oh my God. Okay. You answered my question. You're not supposed... No, you're rambling for like an hour now. You answered my question, and now you're talking about spreading propaganda. You are repeating yourself. You're exactly blaming the Jews again, and we heard it a million times. This is not the topic.
I didn't blame what I'm telling you.
It has nothing to do. We are talking about... No, it's not, because we are not refugees, dude. We are not refugees. You justify. Are you okay? Are you okay with the fact that Palestinians will stay stateless? Are you okay? Because a right of return is an immigration law name. It's not a right. Okay, there is no right of return. Okay, it's a name of a concept.
Abby, you know what? Somebody told me on my YouTube chat, they said, your head is very round and very shiny. That indicates very good luck, or something to that extent. Oh, something like, people with very bald, very round and bald shiny heads.
Because this is our ancestral land, our indigenous land, and we are coming back. But it's about immigration law, and Israel, as a sovereign country, can decide who decides to come or who not. Now, I want to understand from you, are you okay?
Tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la, shot with new shoes. Slides in the sea like he's got nothing to lose. Tum-tum goes the horn, puffing real slow. Wooden and smooth, got that silent glow.
Name of this song is Italian Brain Rot.
Engines roar, jet cracks snapping through. Tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la, shot.
Hey, how come you keep posting stuff even...
Why do you keep posting stuff? Because only like 2 people watch your shit, man.
This is exactly what you're living because
forever, Daniel.
Dude, listen, your concept is that you will consider the Palestinians refugees until something that will never happen, meaning that they will be able to destroy
something that will never happen.
Okay, no, you assume. Okay,
Okay, I can't do that room anymore. I can't listen to Daniel.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Okay, so I am going to create some videos here. I hope you enjoy.
Okay. Copy here. I will send it to your DM here. Go there. DM. There you go. You have it.
Have what?
Nora's podcast.
Oh, am I on it?
No.
Isn't it funny how it's like the only thing I really care about is am I in it? Because I would love to like get, if people don't like dox me and like troll me on the internet, like I'm actually not being politically successful. I have to get people attacking me on the internet to even give myself credibility of worthiness to be attacked. Isn't that kind of?
Have you heard this? When she was crying with Randy?
Okay, that's good. I don't want you to come to my church. No, I want you to hear the truth. You're not hearing. You don't know the truth. You don't know the truth. Of course, I know the path. Where do you know her from? You know nothing about me. I lived a life before you ever met me. You're a child. I was grown when you were a child. You dummy. That's so beautiful. You were born in 1997. I was born in 1985. What's wrong with you? That's such a good argument. That's that's a compelling argument. I'm making sure that this conversation is not in vain. Motherfucker, you have no clue how much I don't care. Look, the truth remains as it is. I will monetize all of your BS. Oh my god, I don't care. In this room, what's going on?
She said somewhere like, you cannot take me away from Palestine like you cannot take me away from Clubhouse like you took me away from Palestine. Let me see.
No, because she's do you know that? Yeah. Okay, so that's it. She knows it. You don't know it. You don't understand.
Okay, shut up.
Okay. But don't treat her like she's like. How do you believe that you're not reinforcing her behavior by telling her that her behavior is abnormal given Western standards now, but it is very normal given tradition when it's not? Western standards are falling apart. Okay. Nobody disagrees with that except for you. But no one is meant because you're even Christian. Nobody's going to stop it. He's like, did Diego tell you that you shouldn't take your medicine, yes or no? What do you mean? Crying is normal. No one's saying crying is not normal. It's just that it's not moving me. I don't want to.
Randy is a savage.
It's like a baby doing a tantrum, dude. That's all it is. Yeah. No, you're hurting me and you won't stop. You're hurting yourself. No, you're hurting me. You won't stop. Randy, any woman that gets treated the way you're treating her is going to react exactly the same way. You say Isabel, go ahead. But do you believe that her behavior is normal? Me like that? Do you believe that her behavior is normal for women?
This has nothing to do with women. I have lived this. I have been in her place on multiple occasions, inpatient, outpatient. This is not funny. It's not anything to joke about. It is a very, by Western, by Eastern standards, this is an issue that needs to be dealt with professionally. Would you say that Rabbi approaches professionalism? Would you say that Rabbi? Thank you.
Diego is telling her not to follow instructions.
I have spoken with her on several occasions, and my advice is the following. And I'll say it. I say it to anybody: seek professional help and follow what a medical professional tells you what to do. A psychiatrist.
Do you think Congress is example to stay on Yaakov? Do you think she should be saying? You're not gonna run me out of Clubhouse like you run me out of
Please don't scroll.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, I got like a problem here with my building. Dude, that was some funny shit. Some pretty crazy shit. It's like, it's scary because like if somebody does hurt somebody on this app and you spent all this time communicating with them, it's like.
He's running. How long he's running? Stupid questions, dude. Come on.
What?
Have some
I'm
self-awareness.
sorry, what? What did you say?
You asked Zach how much he's running.
Making a point. I got to a point.
And he's making also a point. And he's also making a point.
It wasn't exclusive to you guys.
But he wants to also make a point. So he's asking you what is anthropology because you said that anyone can graduate, and you know you seem to have unable to listen to others. I was now listening for like 15 minutes. There wasn't even 1 second. There wasn't even 1 second that someone else spoke that didn't go off mic and spoke what they spoke. Even when my friend asked to speak to Simon, you felt the need to speak on top of them what they were speaking. And even now, when I'm telling you that you can't shut up for a minute,